All right, so Sean, don't mess up this time. Gosh. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host, Harris, aka Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I am here with my co-host, Sean.
Hey guys, my name is Sean Bryant. I'm your average car enthusiast, maybe a little bit more so, but I drive a 2011 BMW 1M and a 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat. You might have seen me around at a few of the shows this year, and if you didn't, then come up and say hey. But this is the Monoxide Podcast, where we introduce or take you beyond the meat and introduce you to some of the people that make our community so great.
I really wish you, when he was getting plates for the Durango, I had a bunch of ideas, a lot of bad ideas. I think one of them was blue ball. And it would have been great, like the flying blue ball.
No, you never sent that. You never said that.
I'm sure it's somewhere in the text. I said I had a lot of bad ones, but nonetheless, he has a big blue Hellcat.
Well, I don't think that one would have been approved by the DMV because they give you like 3 options, right?
You just got to have a good description on why.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I've seen some where people do like the backwards spelling of like some words, and then they'll say like, oh, it's like the name of my company, but you know, in the mirror, it looks like it says like asshole or something.
Or like boobies or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, before we introduce our beautiful guest, I got to be angry at Wisconsin for a second. I freaking hate Wisconsin because they have those amazing Road America plates.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a black plate, which everybody wants a black plate. Like, black plates are awesome. And then they have the Road America track on there. So Dan got his today.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm so mad.
Why?
I need to move to Wisconsin.
Oh.
I'm so, dude, you know how much, dude, he paid like $80 for registration over there.
Oh yeah, Wisconsin's incredible for owning cars.
Yeah, I think they do it based off of weight over there, but that
No, all cars cost $80 to register.
No, but I think there's a different one for like trucks and stuff.
Oh really?
I think so.
Well, good thing we don't drive trucks.
Yeah, like my buddy Arrow a number of years ago, he paid like I think $80 for his Huracan.
All right, forget about the license plates. Why don't you introduce us to our guest today?
No, this is gonna set off a topic for later. No, this is the longest we've ever had.
I know you. This is the longest it's taken to introduce a guest. So
Yeah,
why don't you get into it?
Yeah, do you want to keep talking? No. All right, today we got Travis Stewart, man of, I don't know how to describe you. We've had a bit of tomfoolery, especially this year. We started chatting a little bit more, but you've done a lot of rallies in the past. You're big. I think you've done how many Crown rallies in the past? Just a handful?
I think 5.
5? Okay, so a little
total.
bit more than the average person, which the average person takes, 0.02 rallies a year. But nonetheless, you've had a lot of fun stories. You're a big Viper guy. I really hope you sell yours soon so you can get a Gen 5, which I think is the ultimate goal.
I think currently that's the goal. I don't know it, but it changes daily.
Here's a question for you. Would you ever consider like a salvage title one?
Oh yeah.
Would you actually?
I was very close to buying it technically had a rebuilt title, but there was a TA. Remember that was the one I sent to you?
Which color was
the
that one?
orange TA. That was
Yeah.
at the company that your dad bought his car. That had a rebuilt
Oh,
title.
Yeah,
But it was a 17,000 mile TA. And the only reason it was rebuilt was because they swapped the motor on it for the recall that basically all Gen 5s have had.
So it was a lemon title?
Yes.
It was a lemon title, or does it state?
I think it was listed as rebuilt, but
Yeah.
it was essentially a lemon title.
Right.
But it was like, they had it listed for 117, which is
For an orange TA.
extremely cheap for a TA.
Love it.
What do TAs go for right now?
Anywhere? Well, it depends on the packages included, and if it's a regular TA or if it's a TA1 or TA2, which can go for about 140. I've seen as high that they go.
I pissed off one of the cheeseburger customers when I said, "Oh, just a regular TA or whatever." In the AJ episode, yeah, he was not happy because he's like, "This guy doesn't know shit about Vipers." I'm like, "Well, I don't know about regular TAs. Sorry." So. No, there was almost another cheeseburger, by the way. Are you in the cheeseburger group or no?
I don't know about them. I mean, is there a whole group of them?
There's a group chat. It's got like a bunch of Viper owners across the coast.
No, I'm not in that.
It's interesting. Yeah, we might be doing a cruise tomorrow, but we'll see what happens with that. But so I want to kick it off because I always do that at the end of the episode. I always fuck this up. I always ask people what got you into cars late on. What kind of got you into cars, I guess, early on in the episode?
I guess for me it was, I grew up racing motocross, so I started at really 3-4 years old. going fast.
Broken collarbones at all, or?
I've broken both my legs. Really, that was it racing motocross. I've had a lot of injuries though, but both broken legs. But so grew up racing, riding snowmobiles, stuff like that. And then when I was in high school, actually kind of the first fun car that my dad bought was a Viper. So
first gen?
Yep. He had a 95 Hennessy 600 Viper. So,
That's
and then
right.
put nitrous on it because why not?
Yeah, I was actually watching the Joe Rogan episode with Hennessy. I didn't know that Hennessy started with Vipers.
Oh, yeah.
Funny enough. That was like his first thing. And then I think, I wonder why he got out of it. I know there was like a bunch of issues with the Viper community back in the day.
Well, there's a whole backstory on it. It sounds like he did some not so morally right things, not so ethical.
Yeah, which is a bummer. I'll have to look up into it because I've been burnt on misinformation facts before. But yeah, like honestly, I liked the episode with him though. Like he seemed like a genuinely cool dude. He's a car guy still.
Oh yeah, a buddy of mine actually was just with him and talking to him the other day. He was up here in Minnesota and said, "Yeah, he's an awesome guy. You know, he can build sweet cars." So
He was up in Minnesota recently?
yeah.
Oh wait, no, I think I heard about this actually. But yeah, no, like he's still, I mean, without a doubt, builds fast cars. Now, maybe somebody can confirm this for me, but one thing that I've heard is, for example, you get a 1200 horsepower Hennessy package, right? It's advertised as 1200 horsepower or whatever, but you cannot use it without voiding the warranty, is what I've heard. So basically, you can only use like map 1 or whatever, that's 800 horsepower, 900 horsepower, whatever. And that's within warranty, but if you go on 1200 horsepower, it's not warranted. That's what I've heard. I'm curious to see if that's actually true.
I've actually never heard of that.
Me neither. I'm interested now because I've never heard of something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at like Hennessy's website because they sell like their packages and you see everything that they offer, and it's a really nice like layout. Like it's nice to just like browse and check it out. But I've never went into like the warranty and like read, but I know like it does have a warranty for their work. I think it's like 3 years or something, and pretty good miles too.
Which, I mean, at the same time though, like I get it from the shop's perspective too, because let's say you had like, I don't know if UGR does this, but let's say you have a UGR build that's like 2000 horsepower and you're constantly driving around on kill, you know, just a full beans. I imagine at a certain point they'll be like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're trying to break the car at that point. But there's a huge difference between like 2000 and 1200. I feel like you could, like if the car can handle 1200, then you're probably throwing parts at it that can probably support over 1200 horsepower. You're not riding that line. Whereas like 2000, like it's going to be really difficult to like keep those parts like at that level and like not like be spending for like more.
Yeah, there's not like a higher level of, oh yeah, I have my car built for 3,000, but I only run it at 2.
Yeah.
Like there's just not such a thing. That's not, and you need to replace them often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so sweet to see like how fast cars are getting. I'm going to be going to a drag strip this weekend for some testing with someone. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to disclose or not. I'm not sure if it's under the radar or not, but nonetheless, we're going to go out there and see what this thing can do. So it's got a fancy schmancy auto in there now. I mean, it's all over social media, but
It's on social media?
a little bit.
Tell us about it then.
No, I'm not allowed to.
You signed an NDA?
I didn't, but I will talk about it when it is necessary.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't all that crazy, but nonetheless, it's crazy. But okay, so would you ever like? Because like, here's the deal. Like, I think there's one like Nth Moto car, the blue one. I think that one was a salvage title too, is what I've heard. The Blue Submarine is what they called it.
I don't know which one that is.
I haven't seen that.
He's not local. Well, I guess it's all technically local because Nth Moto is right here. But nonetheless, yeah, it'd be really cool to see you get some twins on a car one day. But
I don't think I'm ready for that.
Does-
I like reliable. I drive, I mean, like the Viper, I drive the heck out of it. I mean, the first year I owned it, I bought it in September of 21, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put 3,000 miles on it before I put it away for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I put 10,000 miles on it that summer. And this year, I mean, the car's kind of been in and out of me working on it, but I think I've still put 5,000 miles on it. So, I mean, I've driven it a ton.
That's the one thing I can definitely appreciate is when people actually drive their cars. Because, like, I guarantee you, there's a bunch of, Gen 3, Gen 4 Vipers out there that are just saran wrapped still, which is a real bummer. It's
Correct.
like, only see 500 miles a year or whatever. But I got a little bit off topic there. So, yeah, your dad got a Gen 1 Viper.
Yep. So really that was kind of the first fun car. And I remember bought it from a guy out in California. It got shipped here. And the Gen 1s, no windows, no exterior door handles, no roof. And first day he got it, I couldn't tell you how old I was, but me and him just drove to Target to, like, go buy a toy dirt bike or something. Like, something dumb. I was a kid still. And I remember just coming out. We had parked way in the back, and there was already a group of people surrounding the car. And it was like... okay, this is cool. Like, I knew we were in a cool car, but I don't know, you don't really realize it as a kid right away, and I guess that probably started it. And then from there, he had an old Porsche, he had an 05 Saline, old Corvair, which I still someday think I might try and get back. I know who owns it now. Just an old Corvair that they're nothing special, but just kind of, it was a family car. So I'd want it back. Just as
Did it have the cradle in the back too?
The cradle.
The Corvairs, because they have like what's it called, the ability to rock a baby in the back.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I can't remember if it was specific years or not, but the Corvairs, what they basically had. So first of all, it's a mid-engine car or a rear-engine car.
Engine.
Yeah, rear engine.
Air cooled.
I think so. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a Porsche. Something like that.
But way worse.
Way worse. Yeah, me and Sean saw one in like pretty clean condition for the first time. What's it called? At the Motorplex. It was a blue one over there. Really nice looking. It's a cool car. It's unique. You don't see it. It's probably a hunk of junk for all we know. But yeah, it's rear engine, and then in the back seat or behind the back seat, there's a place where you could put your baby to be rocked. It's like the baby slot. Like, for example, like, how trucks early on used to have like that back seat, but it's like a sideways facing seat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like just a spot to shove the kid in.
No, ours had a whole bench seat.
Whole bench seat.
Yep. But
Yeah.
it was just it was just something that, like, I'd like to have back. Just cruise around town every once in a while as something that's not a very loud car like the Viper is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of what got me into it. And then, I've liked fast stuff my whole life. Again, racing dirt bikes, you always got to be the fastest. So then my first truck was supercharged, just because I guess that was what I found.
Yeah. Which truck was that again?
I had a 02 GMC Denali.
Okay.
Quad steer, which you don't see those.
What's
And
quad steer?
It had 4-wheel steer.
Really?
Yeah.
Even back then?
Yep. It was one of like they got rid of it, I think, in 04, and it's never come back because it was not great. It worked great until it didn't, and then it was really tough to figure out why. But in terms of whipping a U-turn, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And whipping shitties like a monster truck, it was fantastic. It worked great because that's what I used it for. Because it was all-wheel drive too, so getting it to spin wasn't easy, but that was fun.
It's freaking rowdy. That's the thing. Like when you do U-turns, like sometimes, like even the AMG, even though it has 4-wheel steering or whatever, or rear-wheel steering, sometimes I gotta lay on it, just floor it just to get that extra, U-turn power. But that's freaking nuts. What else? I'm trying to think. When's the first time I did 4-wheel steering? I think it was like seeing one of those like 4-door sedans. It must have been like a Mercedes or something. And I was like, that's pretty cool. First time hearing about that. But now they're putting it in like full-blown race cars. Like, again, like the GTR. It's like,
I didn't know that has that.
Yep. So I think it might be just the GTRs. I don't know if the GTCs have it, but yeah, I found that out early on. I think it's like up to, I think it was 5 degrees or 5%. But nonetheless, like it's tiny compared to like, the front steering, but it's still
it makes a big difference.
It's huge because like I took somebody out for a ride along once. This is my first time like really driving the car, like sort of pushing it, and it was like some turns or whatever, and like you could be fully turned, and then it's like, oh wait, but there's more. So I've never driven a car like that. Like I've driven cars that are rear wheel drive.
I want to go for a ride now because I want to feel that.
I'll take
I've
you
never
for a ride.
driven a sports car that has 4-wheel steer.
Yeah, it's
So, because I know, Porsche came out with it years ago, but I didn't really know many.
does Porsche have it?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I didn't know many other had it.
I know a lot of like 4-wheel steering only kicks in at like low speeds, like I think like less than 5 miles or less than 10 miles an hour. So does it work? What if you're like racing at like 80 to 100 miles an hour? Does it have that rear wheel steering still, or?
That's a good question for ChatGPT because this idiot says
No,
probably not.
Okay, because I'm sure in the manual it says somewhere like, oh, 4-wheel steering available at like, max 20 miles an hour or something. So because it's really only meant to make, making like a U-turn easier for these sports cars, because a lot of times like they have really short steering racks, so you're ending up like taking like 2 to 3 point turn or 3-point turns where like a normal car wouldn't have that issue.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if you're putting it in something like, let's say, a GTR where weight's an issue, why would you waste all the extra weight to make it rear wheel, I guess? Which, by the way, I'm so fucking mad about the new one. A lot of current GTR owners are so.
Are you
angry.
talking? Okay, you need to specify AMG GTR, because every time you say GTR, my mind immediately goes to Nissan. I always think of Nissan. You do this all the time. You never say it's an AMG GTR, and I'm like, why are you talking about the Nissan? Like,
All right, so the GTR.
you're not even gonna address it? Jeez.
No, you addressed it enough.
Blows right past it. The problem is if he just calls it an AMG, then that's going to mess with people too.
Well, yeah, that's kind of, you have to say the whole thing, which sounds a little bit almost not.
Be that guy. What do you
that
drive? 2020 AMG GTR. Let me tell you about what day it was built on.
Yeah, kind of like Corvette owners. Ugh. I know they're listening. I know you're listening, Caleb. But what's it called? Where was I going with this? Yeah, because that's the thing. When you say AMG, because it can mean AMG
There's so many.
43. It could be the fucking hatchback. Like,
Yep.
Well, that's why I said the AMG GTR.
but that's so much. That's 6. There's 6-letter acronyms are so excessive.
Yeah, that is pretty intense. That's a lot. That's a mouthful.
Okay, we'll just do it that. But anyways, where was I going with that? Completely. Oh, the purists. They're not purists, but the current generation owners are kind of frustrated because what they're doing with the next one is they're kind of making it like a Porsche. Like, because they added the current one it's just 2 seats. It's just a normal coupe. Now Porsche, they have the 2+2 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
front
2+2.
and back seats. So that's what they're doing in the new one. So it's like 400 or 500 pounds heavier than the previous generation. The hood is shorter, and then they made it more rounded. So it's kind of like a Porsche knockoff. And it's like, why? It performs worse. Nobody cares about those useless seats.
Is that on the GTR too? Or is it just the GT, GTS?
They haven't come out with the GTR.
It's probably like, how like Mopar kind of, or even like any, I guess, Corvettes or whatever. Like they announced the GTR versions last a few years into it, but nonetheless, like the frame is there. They're still going to use the same body, which is heavy as shit. Like when you start breaking that 4,000 pound thing, it's an issue. Like how
much does it weigh?
It's gonna be like in the 4,000 range.
Ooh, that's a pig.
That's
a big car.
Pig. Like, okay, the GT500 is phenomenal. What is it? I think it's 4,000 on the dot or something, like 4,010 or whatever. But it's got the power to back it up. It's very well designed, but it's still, you can feel its weight.
Oh yeah. Well, I just got to drive a Hellcat for the first time.
Oh really?
I had never driven one. A buddy owned one, and so I let him drive the Viper, and I drove his Hellcat, and I was like, I'm literally driving a boat. Like, it was just from going straight from the Viper to that. I was like, this thing is so big. Like, I could feel the wind pushing me, just a side wind, and it's like, that's terrible. I'm in a sports car.
Well, you're stupid, dude. You forgot to put the sails down. No, I remember the first time I drove a Hellcat was just through like the neighborhood, like 30 miles an hour, and I just blipped the throttle, and I'm like, oh, I'm sideways. It's a fun car, but
I mean, they have the power to back up all the weight, but
Yeah.
just in terms of like, we were up in Brainerd and ripping kind of the back roads, and it's like, this thing is a beast.
yeah. Which was it a wide body or no?
No.
Yeah, the wide body ones they handle a lot better, but it's just. I feel like once I got the GTI, which is a really light car, it's not a ton of power, but it beats Corvettes. It's fun. I realized like, dude, there's something behind this lightness thing. Like if I had to choose between like a Hellcat, which is 700 horsepower, or let's say a Viper, which is a lot lighter and, you know, only 640 horsepower, whatever it is, I take that.
I learned really quick. So the Viper was super fun. My dad's Viper was a super fun car when I was a kid. But then his next car, he kind of got him at the same time, but he actually it was a 76 Porsche, but it had a 2003 body kit on it. So it looked newer, but it was an old car. So it wasn't super fast.
That's funny. Usually you see that the opposite, like a newer Porsche, like a 2003 with like a 1976 shell on it.
Yeah. So, but that car, so like it wasn't fast, like it didn't have a lot of power, but it was just so lightweight that, I mean, I just realized this car sticks, you know, almost as good as the Viper. Like I can take corners as fast as the Viper, which has humongous tires.
Yeah.
And it just stuck versus then like when he got his Saleen Mustang, it's like, okay, this is another big car. And so I actually have always had a thing for small, lightweight cars. I'm not a small, lightweight guy though.
Yeah. No, I'm not either.
But even like straight out of, I mean, when I graduated college, the first thing I did was either I'm buying a car or I'm investing in I ended up buying a townhouse, which is a much better idea than a car. But at the time, like I was looking, I either wanted a Lotus Exige or a Lotus Evora. Because I knew either, because they were lightweight cars.
Oh yeah.
And I was
So
like,
when did you graduate college?
2017.
17. Okay, so the Evora
December,
was out.
so really 2018.
Okay, I was just curious if the Evoras were out because I have no idea how old you are. Like
I think Evoras came out in like 2013, 14.
Yeah, but it's an amazing car. What was the one that we saw at Road America? I think that was like the Evora 400 GT or something like that, like the highest.
They've come way down in price.
Really?
When I was looking for them, at the time the 400 was like brand new, and I think they were like 80 to 100K. And I just saw the other day you can get one now for like 60. And I was like, that would be a heck, because I remember when I was looking at them, like, it's a heck of a sports car. And now for them to be that price, I was like, maybe I should look at those. But I'm really curious to see how their new, what is it, the Emira? The one that...
Emira, right, I think?
Is that an electric SUV?
No. It's like the successor.
It's essentially, it's the successor of the Evora.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, and it's
super
super
hit the States
backordered
here in a couple months, yeah. But
yeah, it's
I'll be
super.
curious to see how they do.
It's super backordered. I remember seeing an article though here's what confused me. Everybody, like, I had a few friends cancel their orders. They're just like, I'm not gonna wait this long. And then like in the same week or two, I saw an article. I think it was like Motor Trend or something. It's like, oh, Lotus fires 400 people. I'm like, shouldn't you be doing the opposite? We got some fucking cars to build here, dude. Like, so, but it's supposed to be a phenomenal car. So basically it has, I know for sure it has the AMG 4-banger in one of the trims, which is freaking awesome, dude.
And I think the other one is like a Toyota motor, so super, super reliable.
Oh, yeah. I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so it's a super cool car. Performs like a bat out of hell.
And they're offering a manual.
And the manual, which so what was it? I think we talked about this as well a few episodes ago. The sales in manuals is starting to jump again.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, which was, what was it? I think it was like 1% of buyers the previous years, and now it's like 2% of all car buyers are manual. So like we're going up. But why doesn't it surprise you though?
I don't know about like new car buyers. I feel like that's a statistic, probably just buyers in general. I feel like there's a lot of people our age and up, I guess. I'd probably stop at our age. You're younger than us, but
yeah, our
age, where it's like we got to drive manuals as kids and know how to drive manuals and realize that they are going away. I mean, they just are.
So there's an appreciation.
So how can I buy it now before they're just gone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you brought this up too, Sean, like how the BMW, whatever CEOs, like, it's stupid. I don't know why we're making them, but we're going to keep making them because people like them, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, the CEO of M Division is like, we want to basically phase these out just because the only reason why we're keeping them is because of our heritage. Like, there's in a racing standpoint, the manual doesn't make sense if you want to have the fastest car anymore.
Correct.
And I think that's why a lot of people they want an automatic, because then they see like, oh, but if I get a manual, like I'm not going to be the fastest as I possibly could be, so I'm just going to get the automatic. And whereas like the pros of getting a manual is like you're actually connected to the car, and it's a much better driving experience.
Have you driven any cars that are dual clutch? I guess the R8, right?
The R8, the
Yeah.
C8. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
to be honest, I'm on that train. Like the only car that I probably would buy in a manual is the Viper, just because I love the Viper. But otherwise, if I'm buying a different sports car, I prefer an automatic. Just I don't know. There's so much. It's so easy, and for how much I drive, again, I've taken the Viper through traffic. It's not fun.
No.
And I've been on the track both in the Viper and in the C8. I mean, I went on a track in the Goblin, and that was a manual. And like, I'm not a race car driver. I don't know how to heel toe. Like, I will never be that fast. Versus when we were at Road America with Crown, I jumped in the C8, and it's like, no, you just go. I mean, when you slow down, it downshifts. When you hit the gas, it upshifts. This is great. And it's like, it's better than you are, better than you would ever be. So, I mean, I look at even the Viper's pretty close. I was before I supercharged it, but the Viper's pretty close in power to the C8. And it's like, yeah, in a straight line, they'd be close. They were close. On a track, I honestly think the Viper might have been a better like cornering car, but my driving skill, the C8 would for sure be way better.
Yeah, dude, by the way, that C8's a felony waiting to happen because it's not a very high power car. It's like what, high 400s, I think.
Yeah, I think to the wheels it's like 450, 460.
Which isn't a ton. Like I could put flex fuel in the Golf and I'd be right there neck and neck horsepower wise. But dude, that car is so deceivingly fast. Because first of all, I think it's a 3.0 0 to 60. I think it is like on the dot.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's like. Do you remember like years and years ago, Porsche started spying on Nissan to figure out how the hell they made their GTR so fast? I feel like they should start spying on the Corvettes now because it doesn't make sense. Because I would literally just floor that car. It's like, oh, I'm at 100. How? Like, I don't know. It's a fun car considering the power. I'm excited for the Z06. Is your pops going to get a Z06 or no?
He was actually on the list. So when he ordered his first Corvette, he really ordered 3 at the same time, or signed up for all 3.
Okay.
So he has the Z51. And then he was on the list for the Z06 and was supposed to be kind of one of the first ones in the state. But he had kind of just gotten his Z51, or like just made it the way he wanted it. So he's done a few little small things to it to make it his own. And even when he got it, he had the full like carbon fiber package and everything, and they couldn't get it to him. So they were like, you can either have your car with none of this, or you can wait X months. And so he ended up taking the car with none of it and bought it all aftermarket, and we just installed it ourselves. But he had like just gotten it done when time to order the Z06 was. And it was before you ever heard the engine, ever anything, no statistics were out. So he canceled his order and was like, no, let somebody else have it. I think he somewhat regrets it now.
Yeah, well, especially considering how much the market is flipping them for. What is it, $100K over sticker or whatever they're trying to get for them? Yeah,
I think it's down from that. It was right off the bat.
Right off the bat,
right off the bat. I mean, like anybody who was trying to sell them for 200 plus were getting laughed out the door. Because I mean, like, so.
But still, you could have made money if you had one.
Oh, definitely, but. Somebody's going to buy it for $200K or around that price. But I think a lot of people, what they were seeing was literally just the name Corvette and a $200,000 price tag. They weren't associating like the Z06 or like anything else. Like no Corvette should cost that much to like people in that price range. They're looking at, brand new Porsches, McLarens, stuff like that.
No, brand new Porsches are so ridiculous now. Okay, first of all.
GT4 RS, those are going for like $200K. I'd say that's worth the $200K.
That's an insane car, though.
That'd
be so cool.
Really? $200K for the GT4 RS? You think it's worth it?
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely.
Huh.
Look at them.
And that one has a similar price tag to a Corvette Z06. I think base is like around the 150, and then
if
you
you can get one.
Yeah, right. And then you option it out, and then it ends up like around the 170, depending on like, it well optioned 170 to 180. But then you got people flipping them for 200 plus, and I think they're 100% worth it. Actually,
I mean, look at their statistics. I mean, they're literally almost neck and neck with Porsche's GT3 RS, which is insane. Like, but everybody said as soon as they did that the GT4 RS is the car everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah.
They're such a
for
they look
years.
amazing.
Ever since the GT4 came out, they're
Correct.
like, when's the RS coming?
When are you giving us the mid-engine car?
Yeah.
We have the rear engine. We want the mid-engine.
Yeah,
So,
I think if you're going to spend $200K, you're either wearing New Balances and buying Corvettes like they're, this is number one of, 250 in this color of this year and from this plant, or you're Porsche enthusiast or just somebody who really enjoys car stats, and you're like, this is actually the best car that you could buy for this amount of money.
oh yeah, I think Chevy did really good with the C8 in terms of getting the new market. Because even I'm looking at them like, yes, I want a Gen 5 Viper, but they're still very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more than I should spend. And literally looking at like, okay, what's that? Let's just say like a $80,000, $85,000 price range. The Corvette is in that now. The Z50 ones,
right.
First gen ones. And it's a hell of a car. I mean, they really are when you're comparing it to anything else for that price. For, a 21, 22, 23 car that you can get for $80,000 and has 10,000 miles on it versus go buy an AMG GTS that's a 2016 and it has 30,000 miles. The AMG, sure, yes, it's an AMG GTS. Like, they're awesome cars.
Yes, it looks the part.
It looks the part, correct. But, like, the Corvette is probably better in most ways.
It doesn't have turbos.
Yeah. Well, I
true.
feel like the
big
C8, the whole point of them going mid-engine was because they literally could not make the C7 a front-engine Corvette. They couldn't perfect that anymore. That's basically the perfect front-engine Corvette. And then they're like, the only other thing we can do now is move the engine back behind the driver. So that's, the natural progression with their, we're making the best American sports car.
They fucking nailed it with the ZR1. The ZR1 from the C7 is such... I mean, dude, they're commanding, what, 220, 250K
it's
aftermarket?
Essentially the ACRE. I mean,
Yeah.
those two cars, it's amazing to see what their MSRP was versus what they're selling for now.
Right.
That is such... I mean, but yeah, the ZR1 even MSRP... I think it MSRP'd higher than the ACR Extremes, too.
I think so.
By a little bit, not like a ton, but like, a few 10,000s, nothing crazy.
It still blows my mind that Vipers literally couldn't sell. Like,
Yeah.
the old ACRs and ACREs, like, no, we're basically giving them away. Like,
Yeah, they're like highly discounted, like 20 grand off of a, $120,000 car.
especially with like their customization program of,
Oh.
hey, literally pick anything you want and we'll make it for you,
Mm-hmm.
any color wise. And they still couldn't sell them. That's insane.
Dude, I gotta say, though, there's a lot of really good colors that came out of that program.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, Porsche does it amazing. Like, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is just kind of match like the supercars of the world, like how they have these paint to spec programs. And it sucks that only I think 500 ACRs were sold ever. I think something like that. Like, it's
Honestly, I don't even
something like that. I'll have to look at the stats again, but it was like, I think it was like 3,000 Gen 5s or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I really should refresh my Viper knowledge, but it was a really low, absurdly low number, because the fact, this one I know for a fact, is more Corvettes are made in a year than Vipers were made ever, which is an insane fact, dude.
I believe that.
Yeah, so it's like, it's such a bummer because there was a lot of really cool colors that came out of that program. Like, for example, the Lamborghini Balloon White.
Yep.
Like, that car that went out to the East Coast that also has an Nth Moto build. What an amazing car. Like,
Dude, and what's amazing too, that I love it, you could look and search Viper custom colors and you still wouldn't find all of them. Like the other day, I was just scrolling Instagram and found like a UAE Vipers page and started looking at that. And it's like, oh, look, more colors I've never seen before. Like,
Dude.
I mean, there's so many custom colors. It's awesome.
Those Middle Eastern guys into UAE, man, they got some rowdy builds. Like, you remember, was it Top Gear? No, it was the Grand Tour when they went over there, and I think they brought, what was it? I think it was a crazy hypercar. I think it might have been like a Bugatti or something, and they drag raced that Nissan truck.
The Nissan Patrol.
Yep.
Yeah.
They stuffed
built like crazy.
Stuffed a R35 and what is it? What's the engine in an R35?
Is it the 2JZ?
No.
No.
No, the VR38.
No, I meant more the one that they're throwing in the trucks.
Oh,
I know they've built. I mean, they build that nuts stuff with all those trucks, but I think there's a few with 2JZs in them.
Okay.
Really?
I always thought
That
they just
one was
threw
a Nissan motor,
a
I think.
GTR motor in them, because I think they also kept it all-wheel drive. Like they're crazy. They push them to like 2,000 horsepower.
It's ridiculous. I'll have to double check because, like, yeah, I think you're right. Like, they put like 2Js and
I
some
mean,
of those
they do
things.
anything.
Yeah. Well, dude, I just saw one get a Huracan get sent off over there. Oh no. What was it? AMS Performance posted about this. They're building a car to send out there. It's gonna be like 2,000 horsepower. Like, those guys are just like, here's a shit ton of money. Build me something fast. I got to be faster than my cousin, you know. So just ridiculous. But I know guys down in Florida, they do that too, right? Like on like Billionaire Island or whatever. They just get into this like backwards, like, or not backwards, but like this dick swinging competition. Like, oh, my car's faster than your car. My boat's bigger than your boat. Because, like, what else are you gonna do?
I hope I have that problem someday.
I've thought about this. I've thought about even reaching out to people who have that problem or whatever. Be like, hey, like, what do you do?
How did you get there?
I don't care how you got there. We know how they got there. It's just like, just bribe the right people. No, own Amazon. Have you you idiots? What were you doing in 1999? You were being what, 4-year-olds?
I messed up when I was in 7th grade and didn't buy houses.
Yeah.
During the market crash. How dare I?
Yeah, you idiots. To kind of pivot a little bit, so I kind of got to meet you when you had the Goblin, or whatever, the Goblins, or whatever that you took on Crown.
It wasn't
Rally.
mine. It wasn't my car. That was Zach's car.
Okay.
But yes, that was a phenomenal car.
Yeah. So what are those things?
So it's a kit car. A DF Goblin is what it's called. DF is the manufacturer. It is a kit car. It's literally a tube frame chassis that they build. They're out of Texas. And then they shove a Chevy Cobalt drivetrain in the rear. Cobalt's are front wheel drive, but they reverse it. And basically everything else is built by them. And so you can do, I mean, that's essentially it. And then it's what motor do you want to shove into it and how much power do you want to build? I know there's one guy, he's been on even 1320 a few times, but he's got like a 650 horsepower Goblin.
Yeah.
And I think Zach's car dry was only like 1,800 pounds. And then you stuffed our 2 fat bodies in it. It got really heavy really quick, but that car, I mean, Zach did all the work to it and got it running really, really nice and even set up. I mean, when he first got it, it was honestly kind of sketchy to drive. Like, you over 100, you started to worry. And he put new tires on it, messed with the suspension and stuff, and got it set up. And then we decided we should rally it, which was a phenomenal idea. Lots of people would say otherwise.
And were these 2-seaters or single-seaters?
2-seat.
2-seaters? Okay.
Yep. And you're basically sitting on the ground in racing seats, harnesses and everything. At least ours were. So Zach bought the track version, which is a full cage. They also make a street version, which is like a half cage. It still looks like a Goblin, but almost like an Ariel Atom, where it's all tube frame coming up to you, and then just there's a tube frame behind you as well. But yeah, it was fun.
Do you have to drive those with a helmet then?
Nope.
No.
It's got a windscreen?
Yeah. Let's call it that.
No, it's called...
We made one out of plexiglass. Called it our windscreen. When he bought it, he bought it already done, already built. The guy in Arizona built it. And it had like a half windshield. Almost like a golf cart, essentially.
Oh.
But then when we decided to do the rally, we were like, well, if it rains, we're going to at least want a full windshield. We didn't have windshield wipers, so that was a secondary problem. Our plan was to stop at a gas station and borrow for an extended time period one of their squeegees, and I was just gonna be out the window squeegeeing the windshield.
My brother has done that before with microfibers.
Yeah, so gladly we didn't have to have that problem. But yeah, I mean, so we made one out of plexiglass, but literally so. But no, you don't have to have a helmet. We did end up, he bought a set of aviation headsets just so we could talk. I mean, otherwise you just have so much wind noise. I mean, you're essentially, it's like a motorcycle, right? You're doing 60 miles an hour and there's no doors, no windows. Like, it's just loud.
Exposed engine right behind your head.
Correct. So aviation headsets, and they worked phenomenal. And then he put boat speakers and hung, I mean, 2-frame chassis, right? What do most boat speakers hang from? A tower. So he bought boat speakers because they're waterproof too, hung those right behind us. And then we just turned the volume way up and you could hear it over our headsets, but we could still talk to each other.
Okay, that worked. That's freaking. Oh my.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome rally car.
I mean, it worked awesome.
Well, how was your ass?
Actually, really comfortable. So it had a set of Corbeau racing seats in it.
Oh, okay.
But like comfortable
I was
ones.
thinking you were just in like some bare naked like carbon buckets, like little weight
Yeah.
as possible.
I mean, they're still race seats, but
Yeah.
they were like the padded,
At least
comfortable ones.
so you had some padding.
I mean, honestly, it was comfortable to ride in. I know a lot of people don't like bucket seats. I really like being like tucked in, so I guess I was comfortable at least.
In that kind of situation with only just tube framing around you, yeah, I'd want to feel as protected as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, it had 5-point harnesses too, so you knew you were in the car.
Yeah.
You weren't going anywhere.
That's so wild. Like, I'm trying to comprehend the absurdity of this now that you, because like I've seen the pictures, right? Didn't you guys wear like Mario and Luigi outfits
Yeah,
too?
so the first year he got it, we were like, all right, we're going to take this on the rally. And then we decided, well, if we're going to do it, like, let's go all out. Nobody's ever taken anything this dumb on a rally. Let's go all out and make it fun. Like, it's essentially a go-kart. So, yes, we decided to do Mario and Luigi, or that theme. We couldn't find Mario. I think it was we couldn't find Mario and Luigi costumes that fit us, but we found Wario and Waluigi costumes, which was just as good, just different colors. Or no, that's what it was. The car was purple and had a purple frame.
Okay.
So we were like, well, let's match the purple. So we went Wario and Waluigi. Did a normal Crown Rally wrap, but then Zach's wife had just gotten a Cricket, and so she custom cut like vinyl of, you know, the little mushrooms and mini Mario and Luigi stuff, or Wario and Waluigi stuff. And then probably one of our greatest investments was, I think we came home from bowling. We were not sober. It was like 2 a.m. at Zach's house. And we decided, dude, you know, it'd be awesome is if we had pocket rockets, you know, like in the racing games. And so at like 2 or 3 in the morning, Zach went on Amazon and ordered 2 pocket rockets. They showed up like a week later.
What are pocket rockets?
The little mini moped, mini crotch rockets.
Oh, okay.
Like the kids ride.
Yeah.
Little 50cc, like
You just strapped it to the back.
not made for full size men. I think they literally set on them like 130 pound weight limit. Yeah, so we got them. Of course, they were like blue and green. So I took them fully apart, and they just used like a little weed whacker motor. Took them fully apart. I literally just spray painted them.
Got the
And
job
then
done.
Zach left the car at my house like a week before the rally, and he had bought a roof rack. I think it's made for like a Jeep or something, like some sort of roof rack that fit on top, because we also had no roof. It was just open. We were like, again, if it rains, we're screwed. So we should do something about this. So had the roof rack, and then we just used 80/20, if you know what that is. It's building material. So it's like a channeled aluminum that you can add stuff to really easily. And I literally made it so it was essentially 2 posts for each bike that came up. And then the foot pegs on the bikes was a bolt, and I just took the bolts out and used like a trailer hitch pin. And so then like when we'd ride, you'd have the foot pegs on, and then when we'd take them off, we'd literally undo the pin, set them in, and I'd drill the hole in the 80/20, and you lock it in with that pin. Good to go. Bikes are solid. So we put the pocket rockets on the roof.
Oh my gosh.
And I actually found a photo the other day. It was like probably 2 days before the rally. And again, I had Zach's car, and I literally took it out on the freeway, and I tested that I could do a corner at like an entrance ramp at 60 miles an hour, and then got her up to like 120. And I was like, well, they're solid. It's good enough for the rally, I guess.
So you took like a Clover at like 60?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You got to remember the car weighs nothing. Like,
Right.
And he had put R888s on it. So, I mean, a way sticky tire for that small of a car.
Oh, as if the fear of rain wasn't crazy enough, you also had R888s. Dude, I've driven into rain on R888s. I don't want to do it ever again. It's sketch, dude.
I mean, we essentially knew, like, if it started raining, we're probably pulling over, right? We don't have a windshield wiper. We don't have windows, don't have doors. Like, the kind of bottom side was even partially open. Like, it had, like, aluminum on it. Mm-hmm. But it's not like it was sealed or anything. So we were getting wet. There's no doubt. There's no fenders blocking the front tires. Like the few times we did drive through rain, like, yeah, we were getting soaked.
Oh, so you did end up hitting rain?
A few times. I mean, just light sprinkles. Like it was never bad rain, but we had times where like, okay, the road's still soaking wet. You're just sitting there getting like your whole side of your body, whichever side was out, was soaked. And you just accepted it.
So it's basically like just being on a roller coaster during a hurricane, basically.
Yeah, but it was a blast. You didn't care.
Oh yeah, well, dude, if I could just. Do you have any like footage from like inside the car by any chance? Like while you're like riding, did you take any video?
I do.
Because I would love to not right now, but I would love to see what that looked like just from like a first person POV of you riding in this little rocket.
Yeah, I can find some.
Dude, what if your phone flew out? Like, what if you're just texting and then just catch a little wind and just.
It was thought about.
It's
gone.
Did you guys lose anything?
Axles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You told
No,
me.
I don't think we ever actually lost anything. Nothing of value, at least. But, yeah, I mean, we strapped everything pretty good. So, for the rally, we also we bought a helium tank. Because once we did the pocket rockets, we were like, well, you got to do the balloons, like they have in the game. So, well, how are we filling balloons? Well, we need a helium tank. So we bought a helium tank, painted it like a turtle shell, because you got to go with the theme. And then we mounted that in between the bikes. And then for our clothes, we bought, or we had, like the wet sacks for fishing. And it's a fully waterproof sack that it's Velcro on top, and then you just fold it over itself, and it clips together with a regular clip. So it's fully waterproof, and we just strap those down to the roof as well in between the bikes. So, I mean, we were good to go.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't helium highly flammable?
That wasn't on our list of priorities.
No.
Safety?
Safety third.
Yeah. it was far down on our list. Again, we were hoping to make it.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Did you guys win best theme that year or no?
No, we did not.
Do you remember who did?
Larry got it with his...
What was his theme that year?
I think that was the year they did... I can picture it. I just can't... I don't know the movie name.
Your whole scheme seems so over-engineered. It's hard to believe that somebody outdid you.
So they had... I think that was the year he took an RS6, like the year it came out, and they wrapped it like
was it the tank one?
The station wagon.
No, I mean, but was it the tank wrap or was that somebody else?
No, that's Carter's.
That
was Carter's
Carter,
car. No, what is the movie? It's an older movie, but the car was green, and they made it look like it had the wood paneling on the side. And in the movie, the kids ride backwards, like the old station wagons.
Oh, I see it. I can't think of it.
And whatever it was, that's what they did. We ended up winning most memorable, so it was a different theme, and it was still cool. We were still plenty happy to win that.
Yeah, the themes got weird there in the last few years. There's a lot of like fun ones. Like I remember, what was it? The TTRS or whatever. I think it was. They had the Austin Powers theme or whatever. You remember I think it was two of the guys. They shaved their heads fully and did like full scented with the mini me and everything like theme. It was super funny. They were surprised they didn't win. I know, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people go all out, and they have some great. Like, it's amazing how creative people are. I love it. So
yeah, like Jesse's Porsche was the Dogecoin millionaire or whatever one. Like just a full crazy like Dogecoin like crazy rap. Like it was
Yep.
Throwback. The themes on Crown were just.
I still think my favorite car I ever saw that had like it had a theme but also still looked just incredible. I don't know whose car it was, but the Waste Management Porsche.
Oh, Jesse's.
That was also Jesse.
That best looking like themed wrap. Like it was thought out to still look like a really nice wrap, even with the theme.
Yeah, Wasted Management is what it was said on there. It was such a super cool wrap, and it had a nice exhaust setup on that too. He misses that car. That was such a cool car. But yeah, then he ended up getting that Turbo S afterwards. Okay. So we'll see what future rally cars look like, because like he's definitely had some of the best themes. But yeah, you said something about you broke an axle on the rally. You told me this story, but I forgot like half of it. I think we said save it, but.
We ended up blowing 3 axles on one rally. It was all the same axle. So the first one, we had left. We were driving driving spiritedly, and we made it almost to Winona. So we'd probably been driving for about 2 hours, and we were almost. I think we were like 15 miles out of Winona. And all of a sudden, we just hear boom. And I was in the passenger seat, and it was the passenger side rear axle that blew. And I got coated in, like, bearing grease. So we pulled over. Luckily, had, my dad and brother were rallying with us in my dad's R8. So they stopped with us. We got out. Yep. It was clear as day. We blew the CV joint on the axle. So... Call the tow truck. Of course, it's Saturday morning. Good luck getting a tow. Or I think, no, it was Friday because it was a Friday. They always started on Fridays. But got a tow truck, literally towed us to the nearest auto shop. And it ended up being a great story. And I'll get into that. But got it towed there. And then it was, okay, well, let's get an axle. Called Napa. They brought us the axle that said it needed for, remember, that year Chevy Cobalt. Wrong axle, wrong size. Called Napa again. Bring me this axle, this part number. Brought it, wrong size. Okay, now we know what we need. Called around and there was nothing. Nothing in the area. The nearest one was all the way back in the cities. So we ended up getting a hold of my aunt, lives in Invergrove Heights, and I called her, hey, can you go pick this up? It's already paid for. Actually, we bought 2 because, safety first. Can you go pick this up? So she picked it up, and then I said, well, I'm probably going to drive faster than she is. So me and Zach jumped in my dad's R8, and we just said, we'll meet you wherever we meet you. And that's essentially what we did. Got there, got back to the auto shop, and they threw the axle in within, 15, 20 minutes, and we're good to go. I think one of the coolest things about that, though, was the auto shop we were at was Crown Auto. Which, first off, what are the odds? And then, so as we're sitting there waiting, we're talking to the guy, and big thing about Crown Rally, one of the biggest, things we donate to is the Epilepsy Foundation. That guy's daughter has epilepsy. Mm-hmm. So, as soon as we told him that, mind you, now at this point, by the time we figured all the bad axles and everything, it's 6 o'clock at night on a Friday. And there's 2 guys still here, just us, waiting for us. And they're like, yeah, if you can get us the axles, we'll stay open for you and get it in.
Wow.
So it was just kind of a whole group of things that came together. And he was so happy to be doing this and, got pictures for his daughter and everything. And it was just how things line up with the world. I think it's incredible.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a heartwarming story right there.
It really was like, and that was, we were telling him about Crown and kind of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then he's like, he started tearing up, and it's like, why? And then he told us that, and it's like, yeah, it really kind of grabs you. So it was amazing, and they were awesome guys. Again, shout out Crown Auto and Winona, because they took care of us awesomely. But we got the car back on the road, and then everybody else was already in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, was our stop that night. And I think the straight route for us to get there was still like 2.5, 3 hours.
It's not horrible.
And at that point, we're like, okay, we're in Winona. We can either drive back home and just be done with the car, or do we keep going and hope we make it? We got a spare axle. So we drove straight to Cedar Rapids. I think we showed up at like 9 at night.
That's not bad.
Considering dinner started at like 7, we were severely late. We got there, and normally you go kind of shower and change before dinner. And Zach and I were like, screw it. I think we put, like, at that point we were out of our costumes, but we were like, screw it. Let's put the hats on. And we took the pocket rockets off and rode the pocket rockets through downtown Cedar Rapids. Just cause. And we showed up, and they had Black Sheep, the restaurant there. They had it rented out just for Crown, and we showed up, and these little things, wee, and people like stood up and cheered. Yes, these guys are here. And I was like, oh man, we made it. We walked inside, and like, it was so funny. Like, people cheered. Like, at this point, I think it was my 3rd year rallying and Zach's 2nd. Like, I didn't know that many people. And so that was the night I would say we met a lot of people on Crown Rally, which was awesome. Unfortunate circumstance, but it was awesome. But so next day, woke up and we went to Hawkeye Downs, which was fun. Took the car out, super good time, and then we left there and we're headed to Chicago. We made it like, again, hour and a half out of Cedar Rapids.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden, and we just, boom, same thing. And both of us just like look at each other. Well, this is great. And so we pulled over, and this is really where we started meeting people. Jake Sirac pulled over and is a mechanic by trade. And so he was like, we're like, well, we have an axle. Do you have a jack? No. Do you have tools? No. We were useless. And then John Huber pulled over as well in the Jeep. Their Hellcat swap.
Yeah,
Jeep.
the Hellcat Jeep.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I have lift for the Jeep. This will work. So we jacked up the Goblin, and Jake's like, well, here's what I'll need. It's this tool, this tool, this tool. So John took me back into town as they started pulling the car apart. I just bought all the tools we needed and came back, and Jake's literally yanking on the axle, pulling it out of the transmission, put it back in. All right, we're good to go. It was literally probably like 2-3 hours, and we were back on the road, but we were like, all right, we have like, I think to Chicago was like 4 hours, the straight drive, not even including the rally drive. And so Zach and I were like, we're just going to putz to Chicago. We want to get there. At the time, we kind of thought it was the high speeds is what was doing it. Because when Zach bought the car, he had put probably 2,000 to 3,000 miles on it, just driving it around, the cities. And so, but you're never driving at speeds like we were, consistently, over time. And so that was kind of our guess. So we were like, well, we'll just get on the freeway and, 60 miles an hour all the way to Chicago. And again, Crown family coming in clutch. So we posted on the Crown page, and somebody who lives in Chicago goes, hey, I own an auto body store or auto shop. Tell me exactly what part number you have. I will bring you another one, And so we got to the racetrack, and guy never met before. Hey, here's another axle. Like, good to go. And so we had a blast. That was awards night. Woke up the next day. The next day was a whirlwind as well. So we leave Chicago. We're not even fully out of Chicago. And the R8, this is on a Sunday. The R8 blows a rear tire. Yep.
It's never ending.
Nope. So, okay, what do we do? First, let's try and find somewhere that's got a tire. Good luck. You know, a low profile 315 or whatever rear tire for a R8. Yeah, good luck. Then it was, can we get a U-Haul trailer and truck and we'll like rent one and drive it all the way home? Nope, couldn't do that. Ended up getting super lucky. Again, we posted in our Crown page, and one of the guys, part of Crown, goes, hey, he had an RS5, but it has the same bolt pattern and size wheels. And he said, I can bring you the wheels off that. And so he brought the wheels off his car, and of course ended up needing spacers that he didn't bring with. So he brought the wheels. We tried to fit them on. They didn't fit. He had to go get the spacers. But long story short, so once we saw that was going to work, he left to go get the spacers. And we were like, all right, well, we took the rear wheels off the R8, mounted them to the top of the Goblin. So now we have pocket rockets and 2 R8 tires on the back, which it literally looked like desert trucks, like the off-road desert trucks, which is just hilarious. We're like, all right, well, we're going to start driving just in case, because we're going to drive slower than they can in the R8. You know, we were trying to drive like 60, 65. Obviously, you can go a lot faster on the freeway. We made it. We were probably halfway through Wisconsin, and boom, heard the third one, knew exactly what it was. At this point, we have all the tools. We have another axle. We didn't have a jack. And so for some reason, the freeway had a curb, like literally a curb. It was weird. But so we pulled the front tire up on that and kind of started going, well, what are we going to do? And there was a fence, you know, like freeway has a fence around it. And one of the fence posts was kind of laying on the ground. So I walked over, found the fence post, pulled it out, and walked over to the car and went, well, there's a curb. So Zach grabbed the fence post. I grabbed the car, and I was like, no, I can't lift a car, but I can lift a portion of a car. So I just deadlifted the car up, and Zach shoved the fence post between the tube frame of the chassis and the curb. And it got it up and off the ground enough that the tire was free. And so from the time we parked until we were like, the time we stopped till the time our car started moving again, 47 minutes.
That's impressive.
I was pretty proud of us. And it also happened to be literally as we started going, my dad and brother caught up in the R8.
Nice.
So it was like perfect timing. And then, yeah, I mean, at that point, okay, it's 6 o'clock at night. Like, we're still halfway through Wisconsin. So we've still got probably 4 or 5 hours left. And we were like, we don't have another axle. What are we going to do? So as we were driving back, got a hold of my mom and my uncle. My uncle set my mom up with a trailer, and she met us basically in Hudson because we just said, I just want to get home. So, yeah, I mean, the Goblin still made it all the way to Hudson. It was still running and driving.
That's basically home.
Yeah, but it was still like, at this point, I think when we made it to Hudson, it was probably 10 o'clock, 10:15. So it was like, if we blow another axle on a Sunday at 10 at night, now what, right? And you've just been rallying for a whole weekend. It's like, I just want to be home.
Yeah.
So
You'd be so excited.
got it on the car, or got it on the trailer, brought it home, good to go. But honestly, even after all of those issues, it was 100% worth it. Like, we had so much fun with that car. Made kids' days. I mean, that was the other big thing about. I mean, that's why I love rallying. Is it's for other people, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, nobody's done it like Crown has. Like, there's a lot of rallies out there, but only a handful of them really bring the communities into it. You know, like Crown with all the hospitals. Was it Shriners?
Shriners, yep.
Like, you don't see that often, which is really awesome. Like, yeah, if you show up to like a hospital or whatever, or a small town with the Wario and Luigi, dude, they're gonna freak out. Like, I've never seen that on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that was, I mean, honestly, for me, like, even the Viper. Like, I love having the Viper, and it's super cool. And as people, I think, and we always want better, right? I want cooler car, a faster car, but really, I still think there's nothing better than you pull up to a gas station and some little kid's oogling at it. Hey, buddy, jump in. Like, I don't care. And the parents are like, no, don't, that's a fancy car. Don't scratch it. And it's like, I don't care. If this makes your kid's day, take photos, do whatever. Like, because we were all that kid someday, right? Like,
right.
And it makes his day, makes his week, whatever it is. So I love that part of it. And the Goblin definitely took a lot of, or did a lot of that. So it was a blast.
Especially like, the Goblin's very, very different. But like, even if you have like a normal like Audi S4 or something that's all stickered up with rally stickers and everything, like it gets attention. People are like, oh man, that's freaking awesome. Like what are they doing? Like, oh, like, okay, to a kid that has no idea the difference between a Lamborghini and an Audi S4, they think they just saw a race car.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
You could put a bunch of stickers on a Civic Type R and a kid's gonna freak out. And I'd be like, I want that one day. And it's like, no, we don't buy Honda in this family, Jimmy, but that's freaking nuts. Okay, but I'm curious. So why you had a third axle prepped then, basically? Like, just like we should probably get a third one.
Well, so we blew we got the first one. We bought two when we were at Crown Auto.
Correct.
So my aunt brought us two axles. We put one in, had a spare. Then when we left Cedar Rapids, we blew that second one.
Correct.
And then that other guy, the guy in Chicago, got us the third axle. So yes, that's where we had the third axle ready.
That was a spare, like in preparation for the next blowout. Okay, gotcha. Here's the big question that everybody's asking: why did they keep fucking blowing?
That's a really good question. So Zach kept the car, and like once we had that next axle on there, again, drove it around the cities, didn't have issues. I mean, he had bought a spare axle and always had it with, but drove it around the cities again and never had issues. But before we knew we were going to rally in it again. And so he did a lot of different stuff to the car. So really, I don't know, like even before the rally, we did an at-home alignment like ourselves. Great idea. Right?
All right. No.
Hey, I'm going to go take the car on a 2,000-mile rally. We should align it ourselves.
All right. I'll bite. How do you do an at-home alignment?
You don't want to know.
Oh, I need to know now.
I think you can do it with a piece of string and cardboard.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you do it like how they used to take kids' teeth out back in the day, like a little string and then tie it to a doorknob? Is that how you did it?
No.
We're not going into details.
Okay.
Let's just say it wasn't the greatest thing. It was like, this will work.
Like that's great for like getting it to the alignment shop.
Correct.
Like you just put on like a whole new suspension, whole new wheels, and it's like it's absolutely, numbers are everywhere, and you need to at least get it close to like zero, so you're not getting pulled in every direction trying to get to the tire shop. Like that's when you use a home alignment.
Yep.
But you did it so you could go on a rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so crazy. You
over
over-engineered the Goblin for the rally. You're like, pocket bikes, we're going to put a roof on it, plexiglass, all this stuff. And then you're like, we don't have time for an alignment. We'll do it at home ourselves.
Well, and it was like the car was already set up when he bought it. And he had put, like I said, thousands of miles on it before we went on the rally. Mm-hmm. So, but he had just gotten the R888s. And so it was, all right, let's just, kind of reset everything up straighter-ish. Mm-hmm. But back to what actually caused it, we don't entirely know, because I think he ended up buying new rear suspension. I know he bought all new A-arms, bushings, everything. He also bought like 800 wheel horsepower rated axles.
That helps.
So, like, if we blew one of those, there's something severely wrong, and got a real alignment. So what actually fixed it, I don't know. But we took it on the rally the next year, and it ran great. It made it all the way everywhere, and again, we had a blast.
Sean, you know more about cars. Which one of those two things is more likely?
What?
What fixed it?
Yeah.
What fixed it?
The higher rated axles or what was the other thing?
I mean, all new
The
arms
alignment?
and bushings
Oh.
and an alignment.
Yeah, I guess it is a number of things in that one.
I don't know. I was thinking weight. You threw so much weight onto the rear of that thing, probably.
We thought about that, but it really wasn't that much. I mean, not.
I feel like you double the weight with how much you added. You know?
But look at us two guys ourselves are, already a lot of weight. The pocket rockets were only probably 50 pounds a piece.
Mm-hmm.
They really weren't a lot. So if you say add another 100 pounds plus our clothes, I don't know what, 20, 30 pounds. We only added 130 more pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a ton.
No, not double, which is 1,800.
Well, I guess, yeah, but then I wonder what, like, what is it called? The, like, gross vehicle weight would be. Like, how much can it handle?
Yeah.
Like that's where it's, like, maxed out.
But it's still less than a
Or
stock
the payload
Cobalt.
capacity. I wonder what the payload capacity would be.
Yeah, and again, we messed with the suspension, too, once it got back, because that was the other thing is, you look at a Cobalt, like, most cars, your axles kind of sit upright going into the transmission, right? Like they come down. The Goblin, actually, with how low that car sat, they almost went negative.
Oh.
Or even just straight. And so it was like, is that throwing it off?
Right.
And so we stiffened up the suspension, kind of tried to raise it a little bit. Like I said, did a lot of stuff. So
yeah, Mickey Mouse science.
What fixed it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's freaking rowdy, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
stressed.
One of the things, like, you get this a lot. I think you talked about this in the last episode. People always ask, why would I go on a rally? Why would I do this? And I think your story sums it up like perfectly. You will never get that from going to your local car meet. You'll never get that from going on just a cruise around the city with your buddies. You can only get that kind of experience on a rally, going across the country, driving, pushing your car.
How many people would be happy about blowing 3 axles?
Not a lot of people in a normal circumstance.
In a normal circumstance. Like if you told somebody, oh, by the way, I blew up 3 axles this weekend driving to car shows, they would not be happy. We had a blast.
I think a lot of that has to do with your personality, though. You're like, shit.
Well, that's like Dan. Dan is, constantly breaking down, or at least he was in the past few rallies.
Oh yeah, he made it through a rally without breaking down this year.
Yeah, first one that I
Dan,
think.
congratulations.
So I think, but he still had a blast, and I feel like it's almost like a part of the experience is your car breaking down, and it almost adds to it. It builds character, and it throws things for a loop.
It's making the best of the situation that you're in. Like, hey, I'm out here with a whole bunch of awesome people. I want to be on this event. The event, the roads, everything is phenomenal. And the people around you is really what makes it, whether it be even other ralliers or, again, like I said, just being in public and you have this group of like you said, basically race cars, or they look like them. You pull into gas stations and it's just a blast. And so it's like, still wanting to be a part of that. Yeah, what can I do to make my car work to still go get to do that? And like, you're just going to do whatever it takes to keep going.
It's a different mentality when you're on a rally, right? Because like you said, your options were like, do I go home or do we fix this thing? Like you said, Cedar Rapids is like 2-3 hours away. It's like we can go 2 hours home or 3 hours that way.
Well, and even for us, like we had the option of another car. At the time, my dad had a 2013 Camaro. That is what we took on the rally the year before. And it's a fully built. It was a show car that was also fully built. It had a Livernois built race engine, 2.9 Whipple on it. It was 820 at the wheels before nitrous. So it was just over 1,000 at the wheels on the nitrous. Never really even hit it. But, we could have gone home and gotten that car. But it was like, no,
we're committed.
We're doing this in the Goblin. Like, let's make it happen. And so that's what we did. And it was a blast.
So then you ended up taking it the following year too?
Yep. Yeah.
Did you bring axles?
We did have an axle, yes.
Yeah.
And all the tools, just in case. Because again, it's like we assumed everything got fixed with all the different stuff that was done, but go find me somewhere that you can test a car at those speeds for those periods of time. You won't. Like, again, it kind of rally mentality. You just have to be when you're rallying. You just know you're risking it, but you're just kind of going okay. And I mean risking it like with police. I mean, you have radar detectors, but you're just yeah, I'll be okay. It'll be fine. It's just a ticket.
Nobody did it better though than Blake, who we had on the podcast. I want to say it was like episode 16 or something like that. So he had all those countermeasures. You remember all those?
In the Viper?
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.
He had the freaking
It's so
antennas.
cool.
Yeah, did you know about this, Sean?
Hold on. What?
So Blake, he with the orange ACR that was on the episode. So basically, he would like come up with these countermeasures. So yeah, he had all those GPS things, but he was also tapping into Was he tapping into local?
Yep.
Like
and,
he was able
and
to
I think I think it was him that had he was watching airplanes overhead too.
Yeah, he was watching.
Just cause.
Yeah, he was literally on top of every countermeasure. Like he literally had antennas, was tapping into things. I mean, he had like
You get a radar jammer?
I don't know if he had a jammer because I think that's where you start thinking about like that's where it starts getting a little sketchy and illegal. But
Yeah.
because jammers are like those are
Jammers
weird.
are technically illegal.
I think
sure.
I'm not sure if they're legal or I'm not sure if they're illegal in all states, but I definitely know in
They are
some
in Minnesota.
there. Yeah, Minnesota, you get in some serious trouble. But the purpose, so some people think that radar jammers are to completely get away from the cops and all that, which that's not the case. The goal is to just buy you time to slow down.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a lot of time. It's another second, maybe.
A second or two, yeah.
But still, I mean, you can save a lot of miles per hour in a second if you're hard on your brakes.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, like, because I remember one time I reacted a little bit late when the radar was on because I was cruising with the windows down and all that. I was waiting to shift and all that. Yeah, I brought it down a significant amount. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, every second counts.
For sure.
Because, like, also they have to lock in the speed or whatever, too, I think, on radars or whatever. But Minnesota's weird, though, because I believe they passed a law a year or two ago or some different thing where basically they can't just keep running KA. Like they have to actually like flip it on or whatever the case is. Because like I remember the day after they passed that or whatever, all of a sudden my radar was just silent all the time. Because like I remember I'd be literally just driving and my KA would always be like freaking out. But yeah, I think in Minnesota, I think they literally they're like, hey, let's rein it in on the KA, boys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find the article or whatever. But I remember seeing something about that, so that was interesting. But
I need to update my radar detector is really old, like really old, and I need to just shut off my K-band because it picks up like any new Hyundai, it picks it up, and so my radar is just always going off.
Yeah.
And at this point, like I've picked up on the sound difference between when it's K or KA, and I'll be cruising and hear it go off and like don't even think about slowing down. Just that's K-band. It's fine.
That's so weird. The other day I was driving and my radar detector goes off. It's KA. It's just lit up. Like whatever, it's like showing me right behind you. Like there's somebody running KA. I look behind me, no cops. I didn't pass a cop in the median. I didn't see a cop on the shoulder, not even passing the other way. But I'm looking behind me and it's like a Maserati. It's like a newer Maserati, and they eventually like I slow down because I'm like I don't know where this cop is, you know, so I'm just slowing down, and then the Maserati passes me and then it shuts off. Like now some of these new cars are using KA, and it's so annoying.
yeah, I have heard about that too. Yeah, like because like what is it? The usual ones like
Laser. A lot of Volvos use like laser for the cruise control or for whatever the
adaptive cruise.
The adaptive, like the sensors that they run.
Yep.
They use laser. So a lot of times I would notice like the laser would light up and I'd always see a Volvo like right behind me. It was always a Volvo. But now it looks like they're starting to use KA for some new cars.
Yeah, because it was so funny. Like every time you'd pass like a Target or something, like while on a rally or whatever, like your radar would just like light
or
up.
a bank.
Yeah,
Banks always get you too.
And anything with a sliding door, they use the K bands.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love to land a radar company as a sponsor. I reached out to a couple. I'm like, hey, because I run 2 different radars, right, in different cars. Actually, my brother just picked up a Uniden R8, and that's what we have in the AMG GTR. And
I know what you're
Please
talking
keep
about.
doing that.
With the sarcastic tone. We want that too.
But yeah, the Uniden R8, and actually the first time I ever was around the Uniden was actually in Chaz's Jeep Trackhawk when we went down to Texas 2K, and he had an R7. I'm like, dude, this thing's freaking sweet. Like, it's legit. And he compared it because they also had an Escort. I think it might have been slightly better, but dude, these radar detectors nowadays are just so freaking good. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you can't leave out Valentine.
nobody cares about them.
I love Valentine.
I've heard that nobody cares about them.
They're like the underdog, because you can go into like a Best Buy and you can buy Uniden or Escort, but you can't buy Valentine. You have to like know about them to like get it.
Yeah, because I heard they were the shit back in the day. Like, Valentine was the best in the
Yeah.
early 2000s. I think they fell off for a while.
Well,
and
V1, but now they have a V2, so the V2 is really nice.
but that's what makes me nervous, though. It's like, oh, you only have 2 versions. And it's like,
Because the first one was so good. I still rock the V1. I have a V1 and a V2. The V2 is better, but the V1 is still it's awesome.
so good you forgot to put it in your 1M for your last ticket.
How dare you?
Did you get that resolved yet, by the way?
We're working on it. Shout out to Martin Azarian, attorney at law. You're representing me, and I really appreciate all the hard work that you're doing for me because I gave you some hard work.
Yeah, that dude, he's helped a lot of my friends.
You've never met him, and
I've
you've
never met
sent
him.
so many people to him.
Does he do out-of-state tickets?
I can ask. Actually,
I got a good story for on a ticket. I received 2 speeding tickets in the same pullover.
how does that
Two
work?
speeding
2
tickets.
speeding tickets, same pullover.
Was he
Quite
just clocked you
impressive.
once, and he's like, all right, let's see if he does it again. Clocked you the second time.
I know what he said. I ended up getting out of both of them. Well, I got out of one and I took a driving course. This was out in Arizona, again on Crown, and we were on like a highway, and it was really weird because this highway, I've never seen anything like this in Minnesota. It was a highway doing 65, I think maybe even 70, and it came out of kind of the mountains or hills wherever we were in, and it literally just came on, swooped, and merged onto the freeway. No other entrances, no nothing to this road. But before the curve, it slowed to like a 60. And so he says, so I took that faster and was following an R8 and then got on the freeway. And I don't know where he was. I'm pretty sure he was on the freeway and just making stuff up. Because he pulled us over and said, I got you on the crossroad on the 60 mile an hour highway at, whatever. And I got you on the freeway speeding. So he gave me 2 tickets in one pullover, but he was dumb on my 2 tickets and wrote them both for on the freeway, 2 different speeds, but on the freeway for both of them. So when I called the court and said, can I speak to the judge? I don't know why I got 2 tickets for the same road. And they dumped one of them. And then in the state of Arizona, it's one free pass, they call it, where you take a driving school, an online driving class, and they completely wipe your ticket. So my ticket was like $380 and the driving school was $350. I was like, I'll do the driving school.
But $350 for driving school?
Oh yeah.
I just took a course. It was like $30.
State of Arizona.
You had to take a state of Arizona mandated one?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess in Minnesota you can choose like from a list, and
It was a list, but they were all expensive.
They're generally about like $20 to $40 depending on who you go with, but there's a lot that you can choose from.
While I loathe the state of Arizona, no, I'm kidding. Hold on. What was the officer's demeanor? Was he like a total was he just...
Yes.
What?
Very. He was not.
Yes to what?
He was a dick. I mean, he was so mad at us. He gave both me and the R8 tickets, both of us 2 tickets. He wrote the R8s correctly. I don't actually know whatever happened with that. I should ask. But we both got 2 tickets. He was not happy. I can give you a little more details, but I'll do those.
You can do that off camera.
I'm going to do those
Yeah,
off camera.
you already got acquitted of your crime. You can talk all you want now.
It's about other stuff.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
that's an off-camera story.
Yeah.
You know it's good when it's an off-camera story.
God, you know our listeners love to hear that.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Well, but nonetheless, that's why you get to know people, dude. You know what's wild is I've started having people that come up to me at shows, like people that I've never met before, and it's like, oh, I saw the podcast or whatever. It's like it might be like, for example, actually, one of the guys that works for Ratified. Thanks for hosting us, Ratified. So
I've never been here. This shop is sick.
Just brand new.
It's
awesome
really
looking.
nice.
I think they have a open house on the coming up.
It's gonna be the day before this podcast airs.
Oh, okay, dang.
Yeah, so I should probably post about that. But anyways, yeah. So Sam, who works at the other
isn't
location.
live?
No. So Sam, who works at the other location, funny enough, his dad actually came up to me at a show, and I was like, all right, do I know this person? Because again, hat, sunglasses, I have no idea who you are. I'm face blind. He's like, yeah, I really like the episode. Like, I think he said like, oh, he doesn't even talk that much or whatever. But on the podcast, he opened up or something like that. I don't know. But it was super cool because like I was like, oh, I don't know this person, but they came up to me like they knew me already.
Yeah.
So just like, all right, cool. And it's happened a number of times now. So it's kind of a fun part of this podcast.
You're famous now.
Oh, I'm famous. Thank you very much. No, my point being, it's like, if you want to hear the off the camera stories, you walk up to Travis, be like, hey, tell me the story.
I can tell you the story then.
But, oh, man. Yeah, no, that's the thing, dude. When they come in at you like super hot, like, did you ever see the, when Houston from Royalty Exotics got pulled over, that video? So the guy who owns the rental company out in Vegas, he's super, I think he hangs out with like Stratman or whatever. I don't know. That part I'm guessing. But nonetheless, he got pulled over in his Bugatti or whatever in Vegas. And he was like a total hothead or whatever because I think it was like a bullshit pullover. Like the cop got him for like switching lanes too fast or something in front of him. I don't know. But cop was like a total hothead. They were just like going at each other. It was just wild. But yeah, sometimes they come in at you like super hot, dude.
Well, and that was like, with that one even, I've always tried to be on the, I'll just be nice, be as polite as possible, and hope I get out of it. This cop, because like talking with, so again, we had on this last this was on West. We had me in the Viper, Zach in his AMG, and my dad in his Corvette, and we were with his R8. All 4 of us had radar detectors. Mm-hmm. None of them went off. So my guess is he didn't radar us at all. He just wanted to pull us over and give us tickets. So honestly, I don't think he even radared us. But I wasn't gonna question. Oh, show me the radar, like
certain
some people do that.
Yeah, I see those guys got some cojones on them.
Correct.
I'm like, what are you doing? You were antagonizing.
You're guaranteed a ticket if you ask that, and he's got it.
Yeah.
We just freaking, I'm not going to say who it is, but we just rallied with someone who got into it with a freaking sheriff. Were you around for that story or not?
No.
Okay, this one okay, I'm sorry, listeners. Forgive me. This one I'm telling you off the story because this guy loves to be low-key. But I'm going to tell you this one off camera. It's freaking ridiculous, dude. Got into it with a sheriff, and it worked out fine, but it's just like, it was basically one of those situations like, show me. You can't be holding me here. Yeah. It was one of those. So
yeah, I've never been that way. I've always tried to just,
no.
How nice can I be? Will I get away with it?
And usually, the thing is, like, the last one I got, which was a bullshit ticket. So I got one for no front plate. Minnesota's one of those states that's
you finally got that? You got one of those?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so I got one of these no front plate tickets. Minnesota's a bullshit state. Also, we can't have tint in Minnesota. Pretty much every other state in the union, this great union of America, you can have tint.
No, you can have
just need
tint,
to go to
just not pitch black.
You just
on
need
your
to talk
windshield.
to your eye doctor and say that you need tinted windows.
Funny story, actually. I can't remember which friend of mine this was, but funny story. There was one instance where somebody did get a prescription from their eye doctor for their tint. So they got the tint, they got the prescription, they carried it in their glove box. And one time they actually got pulled over. I can't remember if it was for tint or speeding or whatever, but nonetheless, they were like, oh, your car's tinted. So they're like, I got a prescription. They gave it to the cop. The cop ripped it.
Really?
Yeah, so the next time, they literally just got the thing laminated so they can't rip it. So I was like, all right, cool, problem solved. But yeah, in some instances, like, that's where it's like, You know, sometimes you give a prescription, you're good to go. Other times, get your prescription ripped.
But like in that case, yeah, the cop ripped it and probably felt really good about himself and still gave the ticket, but you're getting out of it. Like, you could fight that and you're gonna win.
Yeah, you're gonna go to court. I actually tried to. I mean, you're just gonna win in court. I tried to get a prescription. Like I asked my eye doctor or whatever, and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "Cause I want to have tint." And they're like, "I don't know. If that's a good enough."
No, you don't say. You don't say. You just want tint. You say, "Oh, the sun hurts my eyes."
Correct.
That's you don't go into an office in a doctor's office.
Hey,
and
I want to do something illegal.
Hey,
can you help me?
I want drugs. Can you prescribe me drugs? That's basically what you did. You're like, hey, I just want tint. Like, hook a brother up.
Well, I'm just saying, if the entire nation can be hooked on Oxy, I should be able to get tint too. Because that's literally what you could do. Be like, my back hurts. Really? Here's some Oxy. Like, that's where we're at. Give me my tint. This is the party episode where I have a mental breakdown.
That's all right.
So where was I? Oh yeah, so I got a ticket for no front plate. And he's like, oh, he was about to give me one for not having insurance in the car. I'm like, I can literally just pull it up. I'm just waiting for my mom to send me the password, you know, because we still share.
Do we have to have an insurance card with us?
No. You can in Minnesota. You can have it on your phone. You can have a digital
I was gonna
copy.
say, because when we got pulled over in Arizona, both of us, I was freaking out because I'm like, I don't have my insurance card in my car. Just not thinking that I never really got one because I knew I had it on my phone. And the cop went and talked to the guy in the R8 first, and he came back to me and he's like, license, and I was like, I can't find my insurance, but I have it on my phone. He's like, yeah, that guy said Minnesota doesn't issue card paper anymore, which I guess I don't really know. Maybe
you can still print it all.
You can print it out yourself, but I don't think it's required for us to have a paper copy anymore.
Which is why I was fuming because, like, so I basically told him, like, hey, dude, like, I'm in a rough spot in life right now, which, you know.
By the way, this stuff's really good.
The JockoGO?
Yes,
I've
never had it.
Sweet. Yeah, and you can use code monoxide for 10% off.
Yeah, check out these amazing flavors right here. These are some of our favorites.
Shameless plug. No, honestly, like, this is like one of my dream sponsors because I just genuinely love the product, and that's why America, dude, like it's all made in America for like what they can. So that's a whole separate rant. But anyways, let's see. Third attempt at telling this story.
My bad. Sorry, I'm just as bad as you.
No. I blame Sean for everything. So let's just go all the way to the beginning. So I'm crossing from Shakopee into Chanhassen, right? That roundabout over there where it's Chanhassen, Eden Prairie, Shakopee. And the cop's sitting in the middle of the roundabout, and I'm doing fine. This is one of those days where I'm actually not doing anything delinquent. It was actually the day I was going to go scout the route for swapping keys too. So I was going to go do something delinquent probably. But anyways. And then all of a sudden he pulls out from the roundabout. He's following me, and I'm just like... I'm looking down. I'm like, I'm not speeding. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm about to get pulled over. I get pulled over. There's really nowhere safe to pull over. So I literally am just sitting in the turn lane. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to do my best here, but do I wait another half mile, make it look like I'm running, or just pull over immediately? So I pull over immediately right in a turn lane in a roundabout. Parked on the grass or whatever, but comes up to me. He's like, hey, I had to get you for no front plate, and your tint is really dark. I'm like, yeah, I got the car with tint. Like, it's like, you know. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm in a tough spot, blah, 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 blah. He goes back, runs it. Because I got pulled over for no front plate like 3 weeks prior to that, too, in my own neighborhood. And they literally did an illegal U-turn over a double yellow to come get me. I'm like, hey, you just did something illegal to come get me for no front plate. Really? So, anyways, he's like, I'm going to give you a break because you didn't have your insurance and for the tint. I'm like, you're choosing to give me this ticket right now. I don't know how much of a break.
It's not a break.
I get it. You're giving me less, but at the same time, it's like you could choose to not give me all of it. Like, what's going on here, dude? So I was really bummed about that, but I'm just sitting here thinking, like, any other state, this would not be a problem.
It's so funny because it's super selective. Like the front plate thing, especially, and really, you could talk about tint in the same like category of. There's like no supercars that run front plates, and almost all of them are tinted, and nobody gets pulled over for it. But if you're in like a normal car and you don't have a plate and you have window tint, you're getting pulled over.
Dude, here's what infuriates me the most. I have a Band-Aid on the front of my Golf, literally because I have a chip or whatever. I was like, all right, let's see how long this stays on. It stayed on almost a year, by the way, after I hit a 2x4. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, dude, I can't afford to fix my bumper over there. The tint is peeling off this car. and you're giving me a ticket. Like, how selective are we gonna be here, dude? Like, I'm driving a pretty much damn near base GTI. Like, yeah, it's tuned up to the gills, but it's like, bro, like Karen over here just passed me in her brand new Genesis G70 going 1,000 miles an hour. Give her a ticket. But anyways, I can rant about that.
And you know what's actually the worst part is Minnesota doesn't have fix-it tickets. You know, in a lot of states, if you get something that's like fixable, like, you know, let's say like, oh, like your car's too loud, you know, all you have to do is take it to a muffler shop, have a muffler put on, and then you drive it down to the courthouse and be like, look, I fixed it. You don't have to give me this ticket anymore. And then they strike it. And they do that for tint. They do that for, I'm trying to think, mufflers, so noise, headlights. You can do that with headlights. Like if you have a burnt out bulb and they still give you a ticket, you can go and fix it and show up to court and be like, look, I fixed it. I don't have to pay this ticket. But here in Minnesota, they don't do that. They'll still, if
I
it's
got a fix it warning one time.
You got a what?
Fix it warning.
Oh,
God, I literally when I bought my first truck, I mean, it had the supercharged race motor and was literally straight piped, no exhaust whatsoever, like headers, pipes out. And I got pulled over within 7 days of having my license. And the cops literally like, and I'll preface this with my brother had a big lifted truck that was red and stuck out like a sore thumb. And this was the high school cop who, I mean, it was a Rogers cop, but also he was our high school cop.
Oh, the liaison.
Yeah. And he was a dick, went out and measured my brother's truck during school hours and gave him a ticket for being too tall and his tires sticking out too much. Like, so he was a dick of a cop. And when he pulled me over, he's like, I know your family. I know, like, you need to get this fixed or I will pull you over and give you a ticket next time. He's like, I can see you just got your driver's license. You better get this fixed. So went and bought a set of like MagnaFlow mufflers. It was still loud, but not as obnoxious.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer sometimes, dude, because like, you know, when like, granted, sometimes kids need a little bit of correction in high school. Like, you know, you need that slap on the wrist, but at the same time, it's like, I know your family. It's like, whoa, Liam Neeson, calm the fuck down. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I don't like I know some people may not agree. Like I had a bunch of people in my comments being like a cab or whatever. It's like whatever, loser. I don't give a fuck. Like I respect law enforcement and all that, but it's like sometimes you get that occasional guy just being a dick for no reason. It's like, come on. It's like, I want to help you. Like, actually, I've thought about getting that because like we have a really cool plate in Minnesota too, where it's like the law enforcement plate or whatever. It's like a black plate.
That's like our black plate.
That's our black. Like, it's cool, but my only worry is like if I go to Minneapolis, I don't want to get my tires slashed. So there's that too. But so it's like I'm all for it. Like, obviously, you know, police have a space, but it's like, dude, a front plate ticket. Like, it's really hard to root for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their days, right?
There's that too.
You just got stuck on that guy's day.
There's that too. There's people too, because I have a number of friends that are cops too.
Correct.
So it's like I know that they have bad days too. So it's like it's whatever. So that's why I try not to mouth off. But one time I did mouth off. Like, this is the first time I ever got pulled over for tint. This guy followed me for a number of turns. I'm like, ain't no way, bruh. And he's like. And he was super nice, by the way. Like, this guy was not challenging at all. He was the nicest cop ever. And I was just hangry because I was like, literally, I could see Canes. I'm on my way to Canes. I could fucking see it. I missed the turn. I'm already, like, I'm at a level 10 angry. Because, like, you know when you miss a turn, you're just like, I hate life. So I'm hangry, level 10 angry. And he's like, I saw you had some really dark tint and no front plates. I just wanted to pull you over. Like, super nice, by the way. Total sweetheart. And I'm like, angry Harris, you pull me over for tint? Like, I had the tone and everything, and I'm like, this is gonna be the day I go to jail. But thankfully Eric, who we've had on a podcast a couple times, was in the car with me. He's like, hey officer, how's it doing? Yeah, he's a little
trying to be the nice guy.
Yeah, so I think he de-escalated me that day.
It's always anything, no matter what it is just a little worse when you're that close, like to wherever you're going. We did another blown tire on a rally story, but my second rally ever, we did it in that Camaro, Zach and I. So we were headed into Chicago. We had like a 45-minute ride into Chicago the night before it was over, like the last night. And as we're driving home, kind of wet out, And we're driving. My brother calls me, and he was behind us again, and says, "Hey, like, pull over. There's something like shiny under the car." Thinking we were dragging something, pulled over at a gas station, and you can see the cords. And we're like, again, okay, it's 10:45 at night on a Saturday in Chicago. What are we going to try and do? Should we try and drive all the way back to Minneapolis in the morning or try and find a tire? Which, again, go find a, between a 305 and a 315 tire on a Sunday morning in Chicago. So we decided to try and drive it back. We made it all the way to, Minneapolis. Made it all the way to Lowry Tunnel, and I remember this was so sketchy. So by the time we made it to Lowry Tunnel, we had been kind of stopping and checking, and the tire was bald. And it started to drizzle. So the road was just a little wet. Well, Lowry Tunnel is also concrete. The road is. I literally came down that little curve into the tunnel at like 15 miles an hour, and the car started to break loose. Like, it was so sketchy. And so, but we're so close to home. Like, we needed to make it to the Hanover area. And so I ended up getting off on, I think that we got off on 55 because I was like, okay, we're going to putz home. I'm not even going to try the freeway. Like, let's just putz. As I get off, my low tire pressure light comes on. I'm like, oh no. And so it's at like, okay, now it's at 20. I turn, start driving. Now it's at 15. And it's like the right rear tire is at 15. So I put my mirror over and Zach's in my passenger, and Zach, stick your head out the window. Like, see how low it really is. He's looking out. Dude, it looks good. Like, it looks completely fine. You're good. Just drive a little bit longer, stoplight, 10 PSI. Zach, look at the tire. No, dude, it's good. I'm telling you. Drive a little longer, 5 PSI. Dude, it's still good. I went, wait a second. Did we not fix the TPMS sensors and which tire they're on? I look in my mirror, scroll down, tire's flat.
Oh my God.
We are exactly like 20 miles from home. I'm like, we just did a whole rally and I'm 20 miles from home and have a flat tire. Call the tow truck. Like, okay, we were going to be home at like 6, 7 o'clock. I think I made it to my house at like 11:30. Gosh, just a complete waste of your day, right? But it was so much worse because we were right there. Mm-hmm. It's like, I almost would have just been stranded out in Wisconsin again. Like, no, it's fine. But we learned our lesson after that and always had new tires. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, dude, that's exactly kind of what happened. What a weird entry sentence. It's exactly, but not really. So the 3 weeks before or whatever, when I got that no front plate warning or whatever, and I got pulled over like right in my neighborhood, I shit you not, I went to Target, which you can walk to. I just drove because I'm not carrying 6 gallons of milk back home.
Why are you buying 6 gallons of milk? Serious question.
You don't get to be this big and strong for no reason.
You must have the most
look how
bones.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't get that big bones from.
You have no muscle. It's all bone.
All right, fuck both of you. Bruce Lee did not break those logs for no reason, bro. All right, wax on, wax off. Well, fuck it. I'm mixing up movies now. I don't care. But literally, I could. It's just one stoplight. I'm turning into my neighborhood. It's the shortest distance. I didn't want to go that day to go do anything else. I was done for the night. And it's just the dumbest pullover circumstance. It's always the dumbest pullover circumstance, dude. So, you know that we got these like Tesla, what's it called, cops around here now too?
Oh yeah, I saw it, Eden Prairie.
Yeah, I think for the last year or two we've had Tesla cops, and I've seen a number of trucks and all that stuff too. And it's just like, huh?
I have not seen that.
Yeah, be on the lookout.
Good to know.
Dude, that's one of the worst parts when you go rallying. It's like when you go into different states and they have different police vehicles. Because, like, up here we have Chargers and Durangos for the most part.
Yep.
And, like some Fords as well. Like the, what is it?
Explorers.
Explorers, there we go. But then you go to, like...
Shout out to Wisconsin for still having the big bulb on top. Really easy to pick out. You're cruising down. It's like, yep, I see you.
But then you'll go to, like, I don't know, some... middle of nowhere town, and it's just like they still got Crown Vics. It's like, what, dude? So
Well, like the F-150s always get me because you never know if is it a roof rack? Is it just, somebody's got a front bumper on it? What?
Oh, same.
You
Yeah,
get, like the small towns have them.
Explorers with roof racks, that should be banned. Also, if any of them have bull bars, also banned.
Yep.
They should just not be able to auction off police vehicles. I think it's such BS that they basically sell them with like everything about them looking like they got like the little
Especially
lamp,
the lamp. The lamp is like, come on.
the bull bar, the Steelies with like the center chrome caps, and it's like this screams cop car. And I, as I like pass them, I look in the window. It's just like a 30-year-old bald man, just not wearing cop uniform. It's just bare naked, like on the inside. I'm like, oh, you suck.
I slowed down for this. Really?
Yeah.
you don't see a laptop. It's like, God damn. But that's the other thing, though. It's like they auction off those cars, so you have to pay less in taxes. Because, like, imagine if you had to replace those cars, with your taxes. But at the same time, it's like, I'm going to pay for that with tickets now anyway. So it's like, I would pay extra just so they don't, send that fucker to the crusher, dude.
Or just make cop cars like they do in like Europe, where they are neon colored and
Oh my gosh.
like, come on.
And they make cop cars like in like stealth black, and they have like the reflective where you can only tell if you're going directly at them. Like, I don't think, I thought I saw like those kind of cop cars, the stealth like undercover ones, aren't allowed to pull you over because it's basically entrapment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not
I'm
true.
not going to test that.
No, don't. But I thought I heard that at one point, but I highly doubt that, because what court is going to be like, well, you were still speeding.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you admitting guilt?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I was only speeding because I thought he was a normal car.
Exactly.
Which friend was it? I had a friend at one point, like, or it was on a rally or whatever, and they were like, yeah, I usually set my cruise control to above 10 or whatever. So when they got pulled over, they told the cop that. And he's like, well, wait a minute. You're still doing 10
still
over.
speeding.
He's like, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think down in like Texas or whatever, like especially during Texas 2K, they get pretty rowdy with their undercover cars. Because like, they seize a lot of cars. So you can get pulled over by a fucking like a 1,200 horsepower CTSV down in Texas. Like, because they're in Texas 2K. It's wild. But they also have... I've seen them do like white Camaros, and then they have, that shadow vinyl.
Yeah.
It's like white vinyl that says sheriff, and it's like, dude, really?
Yeah.
It's like you took that some bitch to a vinyl shop. You're like, I want a match. Like, it just makes me so mad. But
Who's the company that makes the all-wheel drive Hellcat 1,000 horsepower? Is it Carbon?
Speedcore?
Speedcore made the one for a Colorado sheriff. It was
yeah.
special made 1,000 horsepower all-wheel drive Charger. And they're like, we're not making this for anybody else. We're only making this for the police department. It's like,
I remember this story now.
yeah, you remember? This was like back in 2017. Like, it's a while ago, but everybody was like, I want this so bad. And
I think it was more recent than that, dude, because I think it was a wide body too.
Was it a wide body?
I think so. I think it might have been like just before COVID.
Maybe.
Because that's the thing. Like, all of our brains are kind of just segregated into two sections. It's COVID or pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID feels like it was so long ago.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's such a different life, dude. And
Yeah, right? It's like a whole nother lifetime.
It blows my mind. So, I work in Rogers, and Miller Chev is in Rogers. Like, are dealerships ever going to be full again? I mean, their parking lot got to hold 500 cars, and they maybe have 100. It's like, is there ever going to be a thing again where dealerships are full?
it depends on the dealership. Because
I think right now there's a lot of dealerships that have a butt ton of inventory. Like, you can drive
BMW even, and that's a 4-5 story dealership.
Yeah, I think there's, especially in California too, there's a lot of dealerships that are, stacked with inventory. I think it's just a matter of like the sales and the volume that they move and take in. So like maybe the dealership by you, they push a lot, but they don't take in as much.
So
anymore.
a lot of it also depends, just because I have a little bit of insight into this world too. It's like it depends on who's buying the cars at the dealership too, right? Because if you have a guy that I forgot what the official title is, purchasing manager, whatever the fuck, if they aren't very competent at their job and they're overpaying for every car, that means the dealership is making less profit, which makes it harder to do everything. So it's like, just being able to buy the right cars, even off auction. Like I remember one time at my pop's dealership, they had like a yellow Ram, and it's like it sat for a long time because like there's a reason there's not many yellow Rams on the road. It's not very desirable. You look like a fucking Tonka truck. Yeah. Like, so it's like, it's sad for a while. Like, yes, there's a seat for every ass, but at the same time, it's like that car should not have been bought. But it eventually sold. But especially in this market, right? So that's where we saw a lot of issues during COVID too, right? Because cars shot through the roof, and now we're seeing this period where they're losing value. So it's like you might be losing money. So it's like, it's weird, but then at the same time, like you weren't able to get cars for a while too.
I just look at it and go like, or our dealerships just getting to the point of, I mean, it's almost because, I mean, car prices were so high. It's like, it's almost better to just go custom order a vehicle than to go try and find the one I want.
Well, and then
when you're paying a $5,000 difference for me custom building a car on Chevy's website or whatever, and it'll be here in, 3 months, whatever. Or go try and find one for a good deal. Why would I not take the custom built one that's exactly what I want?
Yeah, well, that's as long as the dealership, you have them say, like, in writing, we're selling this to you at MSRP. And then you're also waiting those 3 months. A lot can happen in 3 months where, it finally shows up and you're like, things have changed. I can't take this anymore, versus like, at that time when you were looking at it, and then you're like, oh, this is the perfect spec. It's exactly what I want. But it's, marked up $20,000. And it's like you're almost paying a premium because it's there right now. Yeah,
it depends. Yeah, because we saw that with like a lot of Porsche dealerships. And I think Chevy was a big one. But yeah, the Porsche was the one that was in the hottest of water too, because like we saw a bunch of articles around that too. It's like, oh, we're going to try to stop our dealerships from marking these fuckers up 200,000, which never happened, by the way. I'm seeing it's ridiculous, but yeah, it's interesting because now we're seeing it's starting to balance out. Like cars have dropped a lot in the last 6 months.
I heard, I don't know if this is true at all. I just heard it. I heard Chevy with the Z06, I think it was with the Z06 when they first came out. It was more not necessarily against the dealerships, but against their customers flipping them. That it was like if you sold your car within 1 year of delivery, the warranty is gone.
I think it was 6 months
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess that's kind of a big deal for
preventing resellers.
Correct.
To
why would I buy a brand new car that doesn't have warranty? Like, all right,
especially at first year.
Worries me. Correct. Like that would worry me. So I mean, it was a good way for them to do it because it's person to person, not a dealership anymore. So it's like, yeah, you're really putting risk on the person.
That's why in July you started to see like a lot of Z06s come on sale for like on auction sites because a lot of people who got them in December of last year, they waited it out. They waited the 6 months and they're like, okay, now I can flip them. Like that's basically all they did was, had these, whatever flippers just have to hold on for 6 months, but they still sold for more money.
Still making money.
They still made a lot of money, but the goal was what they were trying to do is just kind of buy time for the factories to catch up, so there'd be less profit to be made on the flipping. And dude, honestly, that's a big risk you're taking as the secondhand buyer to not have the warranty, because I remember seeing a number of articles like when those first started hitting the road, like engines were blowing,
engine failure before like 500 miles.
Yeah, because the thing is that's the highest highest powered naturally aspirated V8 ever.
Really?
Yeah, because
I mean, I guess everything's always been boosted in some way, shape, or form.
Right. Yeah, it's always been supercharged, right? Correct. So if you're making 630 or whatever horsepower number, from an NA car, and it's flat plane crank and all that stuff. So it's like, this is Chevy's one of their first times doing the flat crank. I don't know if they've done it before, or flat plane crank. Sorry. And then it's in a mid-engine car, just all these new things that they've never really done before. And it's like, I think I'm going to take that fucking warranty, dude. Like, I don't know. It's sketchy. But same thing with like, I guess it depends on the year of car, right? Because I feel like sometimes when manufacturers fix a car, another problem shows up. Like I know like certain like years of the new Supra, right? Like, oh, the 2020, like that's tunable, but this is what's wrong with it or whatever. But then 21 and 22 or whatever, we have oil consumption issues. And it's like, well, now you have to decide which devil do you want to fight with?
There's always going to be the next edge.
I don't think anything beats, was it the S65 though? The BMW V10 that you had to do the bearings on or whatever. And it's like just nukes the engine or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's the other one the one that Reed has, the wide body M6.
That one has a V10 in it.
Yeah, the M6s and the M5s, they had the V10 in it.
I didn't know the M6 had a V10.
Yeah, we rallied with somebody that did that. So when we went to Niagara Falls, that BMW V10, that was a V10.
Sweet.
The V10 was a V10. God damn it, you can tell I'm getting tired.
That's wild.
What, bro?
That's still one of the greatest, sounding engines, though.
Yeah, too bad it's broken all the time. Yeah, because like it literally costs, it's the price of the car to fix the engine or to get a new one or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just absurd because you can pick them up like pretty cheap. I think like $15,000 or something.
I'm really curious to see, speaking of engines and cars, what Porsche does, or B, how much values drop on the GT3s. So
none at all.
the 991.1s, the 20, I think they started them in 13 or 14.
Uh-huh.
The 1.1s had a giant issue with their engines failing, and Porsche, I don't think they never recalled it. This is all from my internet knowledge. Mm-hmm. They never actually recalled it, but from what I saw, like a whole bunch of Porsche Club of America people went to Porsche with like a full presentation of all their findings and everything. And Porsche ended up putting a 10-year unlimited mile warranty on every single car. And most of them are starting to be up this year. And so, and the cost to replace the engine's like $65,000.
So I wonder, because I see a lot of those GT3s going on sale.
Yeah, so like a lot of them, like if you're watching Bring a Trailer, if one goes for sale, I would say within the first 5 questions is what motor does it have? Because they made a fix for it, and like everybody knows what it is, so everyone always asks. But like the cars that don't have that fix, and some people say, yeah, no, I have 40,000 miles on it, car runs great, it's stock motor, but just kind of, you always have that risk, right?
Right.
So I'm curious to see if either A, kind of Porsche just keeps replacing motors and doesn't say anything, or, I mean, if they make people start paying for it, those that don't have the fixed motor, they've got to just tank in value.
Yeah.
That's
that'll be nice though, because that'll be a really affordable GT3.
Seriously, I mean, if you're willing to take the risk, if a GT3, I mean, most of them are 130 right now. If you can get one under 100, and you're risking yourself. It's big risk.
Yeah, and in manual. And what about like just buying an extended warranty?
Yeah, you can do that too. What would that cost? I think like 8, 9, 10K.
I think people have said they've
I
been
don't
getting
know.
them.
I've
for
never
like,
bought.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7 a year. Which is
year?
Like, that's a lot of money.
That's where you want to know
But
a guy.
at least you have that safety. Like
Correct. Like
you got it in the back of your head. Like if I
still
take it
means
out today,
it still means I got 10 years of paying for that before I hit the cost of that engine.
yeah,
Right? Like,
I think either a lot of these cars are going to get sold and they're going to just sit as like collector pieces, or they're going to get driven and have that extended warranty option. And that's what you're probably going to see is a lot of these GT3s with extended warranties.
yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. Because, like, everybody that, like, from what I see that is selling them, like, everyone just says, hey, if you buy a car with this engine right now and your warranty is about to expire, go take it to a track and just hold it at redline and hope it blows up.
Get that new engine. It's going to actually add value.
It does. Like, they're literally like, go try and blow it up. Or, like, even people are saying, like, the car won't fully fail, but you can go pay Porsche to, I mean, it's $2,000-$3,000 to, I don't even know what they do. I forget what they do, but they can inspect it for like $2,000-$3,000. And if they see the issue, they'll replace your motor. And they, like, guys have said, oh yeah, Porsche knows about it. It takes 5 days to have a whole new motor shipped from Germany to you and in your car, and you have your car back in 5 days.
That's incredible.
Okay, that's pretty nuts. Like, obviously, they know they have an issue.
They're just ready to
They
run.
they got a warehouse full of these engines right now. They're like, it's coming. They've been stocking up for this day.
Yeah. So I'm curious to why, because that's like you asked me before. What's my next car? Gen 5 Vipers, 911 GT3s, and honestly, lately I've been looking at race cars, which is probably not smart, but radicals are just awesome. I would love to own a radical and go.
It's nuts.
Get my track fix.
I love Derek's Z06. I've been looking at Z06s a lot. So lots of.
I saw on my way here, the C6, that light blue color, like the light blue metallic.
Yeah.
With the chrome. I saw one of those, the
C6
ZR1 with the chrome wheels
nice.
and that blue. It's like, oh, it's sexy. Such a sexy car.
Those chrome wheels are actually so nice.
Yeah.
It's like some of the best chrome wheels I think they've ever made.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're phenomenal cars. I mean, that's the thing. And you said it earlier. I mean, car for value, to be honest, you're not beating a Corvette.
Yeah.
What, C6, C7, C8, you're just not. So
it really depends. There's tiers to this, right? So you have to look at as a consumer, right? Like, what's your budget? Okay, 10K, 20K, 40K. Each one of those classes has a respective bang for buck. I think 20K, you don't beat a fucking GTI all day long. Like, I'm in that camp all day long. If you go 10K, some old ass Honda, whatever. 40, okay, let's just round up. 50K, Supras, amazing bang for buck. Or you can go the Beamer route, the 340i's or whatever with the X-Drive, with the B58s. And then you get into 60s, then you're talking Corvettes, like Z06s, even, I guess 40K, you get the 5.0 Mustangs, just nuts, dude, all over the place.
yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm really curious to see. We were talking C8s. So my dad passed on his Z06, but I think he's number 6 in Minnesota for getting the Zora when that comes out.
Okay.
Which I'm pumped for. I hope he doesn't back out, but nobody knows the price yet, and
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's going to be a $200,000 car.
Well, what's a Zora?
So they have the Z06 as the flat plane. I think the ZR1, most people are guessing it's going to be a twin turbo flat plane. And then, so same motor with twin turbo. And then the Zora is supposed to be, again, full speculation, the ZR1 with electric front assist.
That's the speculation.
So, essentially an SF90.
Okay.
Which would be an insane car. So even if they're 200K, which I fully believe they will be.
Is that before markup or after?
I'm saying MSRP.
MSRP? Wow.
Which is, for a Corvette, I mean,
That's
insane. But they're talking, with the electric front assist, 1,000 horsepower.
Easy.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you're looking at it and go, what's an SF90 cost? 700?
Mm-hmm.
And I can get it for 2 in a Chevy? I'll pay the 2.
And there's parts too, because the SF90, I saw somebody literally on my Facebook posted yesterday. They were like, hey, can anybody get this, what is that, a low voltage battery or whatever? They're saying they're out of stock in the entire country. It's and there's been other problems. I think it might have been Shmi or whatever. Basically where the hybrid system stopped talking to the rest of the car, so the car was just bricked.
Oh, that's good.
So it's oh, yikes. I think they're working out some of the details on those, but at the same time, that's the cost for innovation, because at the end of the day, it's a freaking sweet car.
Oh, for sure. Dude. Well, and that's okay, you look at, it's a Ferrari. You still have insane build quality, the quality of everything, the interior and everything. And I'm not going to try and compare the two, because Chevy's car isn't even coming out until 2025, and the SF90's been out for 2-3 years now. So to say that they're also 4 years ahead of Chevy, they can have their car cost more.
Yeah, I don't think Ferrari's thinking about Chevy.
No, it's more so I'm curious if Chevy is able to come out with a car for that cheap that has that much power. I mean, even to say a company like Lamborghini, how are you going to stay in the market at these crazy high-priced cars?
Just keep selling Huracans.
Yeah, but why would I want a Huracan what's a new Huracan cost? $260, $270?
Three? No.
They're in the threes.
Are they over 3?
Like the STOs, those are like 400. Then you got the Evos and
The
all
Evo's the base though, so like 300-ish.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like,
why
that's,
do I want a $300,000 Lamborghini that's, what are they, 650 horsepower versus 1,000 horsepower all-wheel drive Corvette?
I'm going to go ahead and say people that buy Lamborghinis aren't essentially looking at the stats, and they're more looking at the brand. They're also, probably wearing,
Their Lamborghini gear.
yeah, that's probably who's buying Lamborghini and keeping Lamborghini alive.
It really depends on the person too, right? Because some people get a Lamborghini because they're
19 and own an Amazon drop shipping.
Right. Or in
company.
some instances, you want to build a fucking race car that's 3,000 horsepower. Like, how many STOs did UGR get this year? It's like, oh my God, dude. It's like, I don't know, dude. It's just, I think it depends. People are so different, dude. Like, when you think about it, like, we have, 400 million Americans in this country? Well, and then whatever else they are. Got to throw that out there.
Cancel.
2024 is coming up real quick, fellas. No, jokes aside. I gotta finish it nice and spicy. But no, it's like people are very different. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like some people will want the Corvette, because it's a Corvette. They're going to wear their New Balances. Some people want a Lamborghini because it's a freaking Lamborghini. Like, I don't know. It's going to be weird. But you make a really strong point on a value proposition. It's like, well, why?
I mean, the biggest thing is like supercars are just becoming so affordable. I look back to, what was it?
What? You did not just say that. You cannot say those two words in the same sentence unless there was is not in between them.
For a reliable, incredibly performance car. I mean, when you look at back when, I would say probably the most affordable, cheap supercar, air quotes there for anybody not watching the video, was probably like 2008 when Audi came out with the R8. It was kind of the first affordable supercar.
No, that's
still
what
not
it was
affordable.
Touted as. It could keep up with Lamborghini and Ferraris and McLarens at the time. Actually, I don't think McLaren was out then.
Not quite yet, yeah.
But just kind of to see how much these companies are bridging the gap between, like, if you were to say, and Audi, the R8 is still probably one of the most affordable supercars.
MSRP now
for a new car
is still at like $200K though.
I know, but what if you're looking at MSRP of new supercars?
Yeah,
there's still not many that are going to be under $200K.
Yeah,
for that amount of performance and looks and everything. And I think some companies, I mean specifically the Chevy with the C8, are really getting close to bridging that gap. Mm-hmm. And to say, but it only costs you $100K. Mm-hmm. That's half price. I mean, you're getting really close to the same performance that was just never there. I mean, you look at 2008 when the R8 came out, there was nothing even near the performance of that car that also had looks, unless you were building your own car.
Right, yeah.
Like, it had to be a built car. You weren't getting a 600-700 horsepower car.
Yeah. Well, I just think, I mean, you go back to 2008, and the Corvette was still, the cheaper option to getting the
ZR1
or Audi R8. Yeah. Like the Corvette's always been the budget sports car, the American sports car.
Well, I think even the ZR1 back then, I think it was kicking the ass at a Gallardo or something like that. I saw an article about this, like, pop up the other day. I should have read it now. I hate it.
That's where Chevy's always been placed. And that's just like every other American car company. And that's kind of where the Dodge Viper was, also kind of competing for that spot. But because they just had, sold very low volume, it just wasn't as up there as a Corvette. So many more Corvettes on the street. So I think that's where Corvette or Chevy and the Corvette will always be at that position.
I think the value.
So for them to jump to like 200,000, now they're up there with supercars and they're fighting in a whole, like, out of their weight class.
But they kind of fill the gap of you can also buy a stock Z51 C8. And they have everything in between that gap.
Yeah,
right.
I can see that.
They're filling the whole gap themselves versus, like, I mean, there's just nothing else really in between.
Yeah,
that.
you couldn't do that with like a Audi R8. You can't buy the V8 version with the.
Ugh.
Yeah, it still wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm too small to fill any gaps. Anyways, Sean, since we are plucking along well past 2 hours now, by the way, time
it been
flies.
that
Yeah,
long?
dude. Yeah, I don't have a clock in here for that reason. I'm the only one that sees the clock. I look down, I'm like, oh, sick. Okay.
Good job, us.
Yeah. No, dude. Freaking phenomenal podcast. But have you listened to the show before, Travis?
Yeah.
All right. So, Sean.
Well, a little.
No.
I have a feeling of what you're going to ask me.
All right.
I
Well,
don't
then
remember
you know
the
exactly what's about to happen because you have listened to this show before. And we like to ask our guests at the end just to kind of get to know a little bit more about like where you are with your personal taste in cars. So you just have to pick 3 cars for us. One's a daily, one's a show car, one's a track car.
Unlimited budget.
There you go.
And the only limitation is your mind.
A daily, a show car, and a track car.
And what are you currently daily? Is it the Viper?
No, I have a 2019 Ram Limited.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in the summer, I basically daily the Viper.
Okay.
It's for sale, so hopefully we can get a new Viper soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell a lot of Vipers for a lot of people. Like, I'm trying to help AJ sell his 2 Vipers, like the Calvo, which is 1500 wheel, and then the Nth Moto Gen 2, which is 1250 wheel. So I'm guessing I might answer one of your questions with the Viper question. Would a Viper be in the question of any of those 3? Or no? Unlimited budget.
Honestly, probably not.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Unlimited budget. It seems like you can go pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of thought about this. I remembered one was going to be a race car question. I was kind of thinking about this last night. Honestly, race car, I'm surprised I don't think anybody said it. I haven't watched all of your podcasts. Sorry.
It's okay.
Why would you not want an F1 car? Like, come on.
F1?
It's the fastest car you can get on a racetrack. Why would you not want an F1 car?
We had exactly one person answer that. He rattled, dude. So we had Jacob on here. What was it, episode 43 or 4, whatever. Anyways, he came on, and we told him unlimited budget. He rattled this shit off quick,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
And one of them was an F1 car. So I asked him, all right, well, which generation F1 car? Do you want a screaming V10 in there?
Oh, man.
Like, it's not gonna be as fast as the current ones.
That's
but
the thing. I would probably say no. Like, I appreciate new technology a lot. And so to see new F1 cars and how much better they are. Like, yes, the old ones, the sound, there will never be anything that touches that. But the performance of the new ones, I'll take performance. It's a race car. Why would I want a slower version? I want the fastest version.
That's
yeah,
fair.
it's so much slower.
Still, you want to talk real race car that it was maybe be affordable someday? I would probably say a Radical. Like, I don't know that there's many
Stop
cars.
it. F1 car. We're sticking with that. No,
All right,
no.
F1 car.
Unlimited budget. You said affordable. I'm like, no. Stop right
Yeah,
there.
you went out and you bought F1 Red Bull
I
racing.
own Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you afford an F1
There
car.
we go. I'll go buy a race team.
Sweet. All right, so Red Bull F1 car. Max, super max.
Show car. Honestly, probably I'd like it to be a daily too, but we live in Minnesota. Show car, probably like a Koenigsegg. I mean, I just think the build quality. I've never seen one. Never sat in one. Never seen one. But from what I read on the internet, because the internet's 100% true, they're at like the top of their game in terms of technology and quality. Like, they build super nice cars. Like, you look at a Pagani, they're beautiful.
Yeah, works of arts.
But I just look at them and go, they haven't changed in how many years?
I don't think they need to.
Because they're works of art.
Yeah.
But, like, they're not as fast as a lot of these new hypercars. I mean, they're beautiful. I absolutely love them. But they just don't. So I would say a Koenigsegg.
You're the type of guy to put a smiley face on the Mona Lisa, aren't you? It's like, I mean, it's a work of art, but I mean, why is she frowning?
If I have a different option, so I'd probably say a Koenigsegg just because they look.
So which Koenigsegg?
I mean, again, go new. Might as well get
The latest, so like a Jesko.
Yeah, the Jesko and probably the Attack. I want the big wing.
Okay. and then
That
daily.
would probably be my show car.
Okay.
Yeah.
A daily?
All right.
God, I don't.
He's 2 for 2 with Jacob, by the way. It's a different Koenigsegg.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because he said he wanted a Koenigsegg for a show car too.
Good job, Jacob.
This is a tough one for a lot of people.
A daily for around Minnesota, just because F it. Brabus 6x6.
Okay.
Love
F
it.
it. Like,
No, I love it.
I live in Minnesota. I'm going to drive this thing everywhere.
It's literally the only G-Wagon that I actually like. Every other G-Wagon, I look at it, I'm like, what the actual, like, why are people spending this much money? But when I see the 6x6, I'm like, I will give you everything.
Correct. Like, they're outdated now, but so cool.
Still, one of the coolest Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. The only cool one that I like.
Yep.
Sick.
So
Sick.
that to me, I think would just be like, I would drive my Yesco in the summer, and then all winter, I'm for sure driving.
Oh,
the
you wouldn't
6x6.
drive it into winter? Because, I mean, Koenigsegg drives their cars in the winter. Why? Because aren't they like Finnish or someone who's northern countries?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they test their
Sweden.
shit on
I
the
think they're
ice.
Swedish, right?
Sweden?
Sweden?
Sweden,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're Sweden.
I love seeing their videos when they are just like testing on the ice roads and everything. It's like, dude, they're such a crazy company. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But sweet, Sean. So we're gonna put a ribbon on it.
Yeah.
Do you want? Shall we make the announcement?
Well, I'll go last.
You'll go last.
Yeah, I don't want to have him follow me up. So.
Okay, cool. So first of all, Travis, thank you for coming on to the old podcast. It's been I've been wanting to have you on for like the last 15 episodes. I'm glad time finally worked out, and being at this location at Ratified is freaking sweet. Ratified Motorsport North, where they build some seriously fast Audis, which I hope is going to be someone's consideration for their track car in the future, or a daily or a show car. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. Some really fun stories, man. I haven't laughed like that in a while. So
Thank you guys for having me. It was awesome. I'm glad we were finally able to get it done, because we've talked about it quite a bit.
where can people find you? Do you have an Instagram or anything like that?
I have an Instagram. I think the name on it is travis.stewart41.
Okay.
I don't know. Go on yours. I know the R8. Every time I see you post, it makes me happy, because the R8 is still your profile picture.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
yep.
just go on Harris's Instagram and find the orange R8.
Orange R8 or the Gen 3 Viper with a beautiful sunset in a location that I get kicked out of regularly. Undisclosed location. Sean, where can people find you after your contract expires?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's at 1MNMopar. I just post, my cars on there. That's basically all it's for. But I have a announcement for everyone that's made it this far. This is going to be my last episode. So thank you so much for allowing me to be on and talk about everything in the car world with so many wonderful people. This has been probably one of the best things that I've done. It's been just an amazing experience. And as to why this is my last episode, I am moving out of state, so I won't be able to commute and do the podcast anymore. So I just really appreciate all the things that have happened because of this. And I look forward to continuing to support the podcast and seeing where it goes. Wow, I thought I was going to cry, but I don't think I will. So
No, people usually don't cry when they leave me. No. So yeah, the reason that we're kicking Sean off, it's not because he's moving. It's because his contract expired. He's currently a free agent to be a part of whatever podcast. You should go join Tavares or somebody. Fucking nerd.
I don't think he lives in California.
I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna have a great time in California. So he's gonna be near like the Huntington Beach area.
Ooh.
So he's
Yep,
gonna be,
I'll be in the SoCal area, south of LA, Huntington Beach. If you're in the area, hit me up. You know how to get hold of me.
yeah, and you'll be coming to Minnesota periodically. So we'll have him back on the podcast. Whether the co-host thing happens or not, well, that's up for discussion come the future.
I better get my own special episode if I come back. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
you get to be on
co-host.
this side of the table.
Yeah.
Well, I actually thought about that too. So we actually were supposed to have a podcast yesterday, but it didn't work out because the person just ran into some issues and they couldn't come here. And I was like, well, we could do a Sean special. I'm like, that'd be interesting. Because like we've never really nobody really interviews us.
Yeah.
Like time to time we'll get a couple questions, but like not a full blown thing. So it's like there's more to that. But at the same time, next time you pop into town, we could do that too. So nonetheless,
Let's at least ask him his 3 cars.
Oh, I did that episode 5. No. And I've thought about this. I think, yeah, when I have my special episode, my own episode, then we'll see if things have changed. But for now, I think we'll leave it be.
All right, so the free agent is going to sign off. As for me, so real quick, if you actually made it this far, because usually the last 5 minutes, people are usually just like, all right, and next.
Done.
Make sure to follow the Monoxide Podcast everywhere. YouTube, make sure to subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you want, how'd you like that JockoGO? You said you liked it?
It was really good.
That's the 50-50 lemonade tea one.
And I don't normally drink energy drinks at all.
Yeah.
So it was very good.
That's one of my favorites too. We got the Sour Apple Sniper and all that too. So yeah, I highly recommend if you like energy drinks, give it a shot at least. Some flavors are better for people than others. Like not everybody's gonna love every flavor. But nonetheless, and then I will be taking on a new, affiliate sponsor, whatever, next episode, which more stuff about that. But anyways, I've ranted for too long. Follow me at Monoxide, everything, and see y'all next time.
Thank you.